Warning, what you're about to hear is intended to make you laugh a lot, while also hearing some cool people talk about the cool shit they're doing. If you're easily offended or just can't take a joke, then you should turn this off right now. Otherwise, turn this shit up and hang on. Welcome to the Get Up. So definitely feeling the music, huh?
Yeah, I'm digging it. It's pretty cool. I think I've got some endorphins going in general, right?
All right, yeah. I mean, like we were just saying, this definitely fits personality, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, hey, I am your host, JP. Thanks for joining me on another episode of The Get Up. Joining me today is Michael Gervais. I'm saying it right?
Yeah, Gervais. Yep,
Gervais.
You got it.
All right.
This is silent.
What do you want me to call you, Mike Gerv? I mean, I know we've gone by all kinds of different things.
I never got so it comes back to that. How do you go by that last name thing? That last name has been Gervais, Gervais. I mean, just teachers throughout the years yell anything, and I always knew it was me. I never got offended, so I was like, "Yeah, it's me, no big deal."
My last name is Pregazer. You can only imagine the things that my basketball coach in middle school called me Pretzel because he just gave up on trying to say my last name.
That's pretty funny though. That's a good one. I would think that would stick for a little bit too, right?
Hey,
yeah, Pretzel.
That or Pregs.
Preggy. Yeah, I can see that one coming out.
Prego,
right.
Like the pizza or the spaghetti sauce, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Prego, right?
Yep. Yeah, all the time, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Mike is you introduced yourself. Yeah. Who are you?
My name is Michael Gervais. I'm a real estate agent in the Metro Detroit area.
Excellent.
That's me, yeah.
All right. More than just that, but that's what you do for a profession.
I'm a dad too. I'm a dad.
Yeah,
I'm a husband and a dad. Yeah. I'm a dad. 2 little girls, Lincoln and Lennon.
Okay.
Lincoln she made me a dad first. She's coming up on 2 years old in January, and Lennon's brand new to the crew, man. She's 90 days today.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
No sleep.
No sleep.
My
right?
truck told me as soon as I got this is funny. I'm driving here on 96. Truck says, "Warning, driver alert, rest needed." I was like, okay, cool, bro. I'm on the way. It's not like I'm on the way home.
Your car told you need what? Because it's so far to get here?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like you've been driving for too long, take a break?
Right.
Wow.
But that was when I was first on the road. So
the technology's crazy. Like she traded in she had a Compass, and then she traded that in. Now we have an Equinox. Okay, how the hell you say it. And this thing, I told her yesterday, because it does like the lane assist, and it tells you when people are in your blind spots, like does all kinds of crazy crap. It can do the self-parallel parking and all that nonsense. And I told her yesterday, we went to the Renaissance Festival, and it was absolutely nonsense. That was
Did you get a turkey leg?
No, because they were sold out. The lines were forever, like hours long, and then eventually they sold out. And then I heard, because I had a family member working the event as a volunteer firefighter, paramedic, whatever, that like half the kitchen staff just quit and walked out.
Really?
In the middle of the day
From the
yesterday.
Ren
in
Festival?
the middle of the day yesterday, yeah. Because it was just so nuts. It was
a tough Saturday.
The line to get in was hours long down the road. It was miles and miles and miles. No, because it was so mild. The weather was so nice
everybody
yesterday.
Was like, let's go. Man.
And it's getting towards the end, so everyone was there. It was crazy. But we're driving home, and you can feel it's really unsettling when you're driving, and then you feel the steering wheel turn, and you're not the one turning it. It's kind of unsettling and takes getting used to. But then I told her we're driving, and I go, I feel like your car's judging me. Like, I feel like my driving is being judged right now by your car because it totally is like you, because it's a little light that turns on too to let you know that, like, hey, you're doing a shitty job. We're taking over. Right. So it was weird. It's really, really weird. And I was just like, I don't know how I like this.
So we were lucky enough to get a 2 on with the Explorer, and I'm going into a turn, right? So 96 to 275, 96 westbound, and it's a decent turn. So I hit the button. Light, like you said, the light pops up. I was like, all right, me and my wife's name is Heather. She's sitting next to me. I was like, all right, here we go, hands off. And I mean, it starts to, and I'm like, oh, it's doing the turn.
We've done like a little test like that. Like out here, it's because I'm on these country roads. There's like no one. There's no one out here either, so I don't have to worry about like.
But it's only 2-lane road though, so if it veers off too much, you might be in a cornfield real quick.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How'd you like that drive up here though?
I did. I do. So. Most real estate agents, I don't think they go as far as I do. I do anything pretty much within an hour. If I can get there within an hour, and really throw an idea at me, I'll go a little farther too. You know what I mean? But I always enjoy going those far areas and seeing what's going on out in the community, how they're living out there, what the land's like, what the homes are like. I appreciate it. So on the way out here, this is a road that I haven't been on. I started looking around, driving a little bit of slows, and I came in through a town. I don't remember the name of the town, but they had Coldwater right there?
That's so you probably came up through like Davison or Elba. Elba's because did it tell you to take Lapeer Road up, or did it take you 69 to 69. Like Elba Road?
Yeah, I think Elba Road.
Yeah, so you went up through this little tiny place of Elba.
It was a little blink of an eye, but I mean, everybody was out with their 69 Chevelle having a great time. You know, they brought the cars out. They got the good food though. Okay. Yeah, there was a bunch of cars out. They were doing a little something.
There's a lot of stuff going on up here all the time.
Yeah.
So in Lapeer, they have this really cool like mountain bike path set up in town.
Those are sweet.
Kind of, but we rode it in the spring, and it's pretty intense. And they've got like where you
no joke.
Where you got to ride like across logs and like weird things that they set up. Well, we've been watching. They've been building. They've been building this whole thing. And we were like, whoa, what is this going on? And it turns out they set up this whole huge BMX thing. They built this giant ramp and then these huge jumps, and they had like a BMX contest or race or something yesterday.
Like X Games or something?
ESPN? We didn't watch it because we went to the Renfen
sure.
For my daughter's birthday. But yeah, it looks intense. And then if they're keeping it all up, it'll be something that anyone can just go do.
Yeah.
So it's
cool.
It's pretty cool. They got a lot of different stuff going on up here. Yeah. It's been really, really interesting living out here.
Oh, it's awesome.
So moving from, I've lived all over the place. I grew up in Auburn Hills.
Okay.
I lived in all over Macomb, in Warren. I've lived in Shelby Township. I've lived all over the place.
A little taste everything.
Right, a little taste everything. My grandma lives out in Capac, so I'm familiar with countryside out here and stuff too. And I used to drive through Lapeer to go hunting, which is kind of cool because now I'm like 10 minutes away from a bunch of hunting land. But my phone's going off. Probably should have muted that. It's saying that, hey, you're supposed to be here.
Nice. I'm here.
And you're here.
I am here. They got to check my Facebook because I am here.
Yeah, right? On that note, you are officially the first guest this season.
Nice.
Last month, I had like 4 people have to reschedule and cancel because of
I was one of those people, remember?
Yeah, originally.
I think it was a baby. Was it something with the baby?
It might have been.
I think I was going. I think I went out of town too.
I don't pry too much. Like,
it was too much stuff. Yeah.
But
I think I did it well in advance. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make that day call. It wasn't day off.
Yeah, but it's been cool and peaceful up here. But it's a different mindset, and like we still are dealing with like city mindset compared to country. So like every night I check every door to make sure it's locked. Like I go all my house doors, make sure they're locked, right? So today we went to go split some logs before you showed up because I just put that new log splitter together. I finished it yesterday, right?
Yep.
Fired it up, stuff like, I gotta test it. She's like, wait till your guest is gone. And I was like, no, I need to get this.
No, I gotta get it out.
I want to play with this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, where's my truck keys at? My truck keys were in my truck. And I haven't driven my truck since Thursday.
That's
so
country.
It's
awesome,
one of those things where it's like when we came and looked at this house, these people like they didn't even give us keys when we moved in.
Yeah, we don't know where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. All they had was a garage door opener. We found one key on top of the fridge that they had left. They just gave us a garage door opener though. But like when we came and looked at the house, I mean there was bullets laying around and gun cases and stuff. Like they just did not care.
Man, you usually don't see that though. The bullets, everyone usually keeps their guns locked up.
Yeah,
pretty tight.
No, not at all. Yeah, just stuff out. It was wild. But that's just like the mentality out here, and like even now, like you see when you came into my area, how all the trees, like you can't even see my neighbors' houses right now. Now in the winter, once everything falls, I know it's beautiful.
Yeah.
When all the leaves fall, then I'll be able to see through the trees a little bit and see their houses. But it's like
still pretty cool.
I don't have to worry about people flying through my streets, cutting through. It's a dead end road.
If you're coming here, you're coming.
There's a reason you're here.
Like why did I come? I came here. Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I would like that. Like I said, she just wishes we would have gotten more land. But yeah, it's pretty awesome out here.
So we're working on we're probably going to be working on something like that too, because I got these 2 dogs that have a bunch of energy. I'm like my girls, I want them to.
Yeah, you did a lot to yourself at one time.
I know.
Not only having 2 new kids, but 2 dogs too.
I know.
Like.
Yeah, well, that's because I didn't have anything in my 20s, right? I got to make up for it. And so nobody ever told us that either. Have the kids when you're later in life, but nobody ever said, hey, when it's later in life,
you have no energy.
Have the energy. Yeah. I wish somebody in my which my wife argues it wouldn't have mattered, and she's probably right. But tell me in my 20s to pop one out, or maybe towards the second one at the end.
Like I did that, right? And it's a mix. because there's definitely like my son I had at 21.
Okay.
Right. So in the 20s, right?
Right.
And I was always happy that I did have my kids young because I think I had my daughter when I was like 25.
Yeah.
Or 26.
Yeah.
And I did have the energy, right?
solid
Like
young.
I've always been, active with them. Whatever they were interested
Right.
in, I would do with them too. We roughhoused and played around.
Yep.
Like I had the energy, and I cannot.
You were a kid yourself then, still.
I'm still a kid.
Right.
Being 40 now, like I turned 40 this year, there's no way in hell that I could have another kid.
Right.
Like I can barely walk some days. Like we went to the Renaissance Festival yesterday, and like today I can barely
You're
like, stand
hungover
and
from
walk.
being at the
Just
Red Sun. You didn't
my
drink.
legs hurt,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I didn't even drink,
You
and I
didn't
feel
even do
hungover.
nothing. You feel, yeah.
So like I cannot imagine chasing
Right.
around a little kid now.
Oh my God.
But at the same time, having kids young, as I got older, I realized there's things that I wish I would have done
Sure.
when I was younger before having kids.
Yeah.
Because now that I want to do these things, my body is
Right.
not at a place where it's realistic for me to do them.
Fair
Or
enough.
if I do them, it's going to hurt.
And there's probably always going to be that, right? If I do
is.
this, then there's always these couple things.
So
this
maybe
way.
like wait till like your mid 20s.
I think 27.
Yeah,
27.
that
that's
would
a
feel
good
like a
number.
pretty good age for
Yeah.
me too if I was going to
Because then
start.
you still can rock another one at 29, right?
If you want them that close.
If you want them that close, right? And then by 32, 33, you're living. You're sleeping,
possibly.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
and it was funny because like she wanted another one for a long time.
Right.
And she's like, well, you have two because so my son's from my ex-marriage.
Sure. Yeah,
And
yeah.
my daughter's with me and my current wife. And she's like, well, you have two and I only have one. And I was like,
Right.
well, it's a race you're never going to win. Like, we're
Yeah.
never going to be even.
'Cause you'd be 3-2,
Because then it'd be
yeah.
3-2. Were we
Yeah.
going to just keep doing this? I'm not
Right.
doing that, right?
No.
But I was like, look, we're so close to like, we only got X amount of years
Yes.
until we can start going out and just like, we want to go out to dinner, we can go out to dinner.
Yeah.
We want to go to the movies, we can go to the movies.
Yes.
We want to go shopping, we can
You're
go
going to
shopping.
start all over again?
And I was like, you want to reset that timer? You want to reset to 18
no,
again? Like, you
no,
want to go back to
no,
0? No.
no,
So she's finally on
Yeah.
page with me now too.
Fair enough. We're so far from the page that you guys are
Yeah.
on right now.
so now we're finally on the same page and we're cool. And we're
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. We
Good for
can
you
leave
guys.
her home if we want to go
Yeah.
do something,
Right.
and not be worried. We're also on the page of once these dogs are gone, these pets,
No more
more
coming.
pets either.
Okay.
One is just, like especially with my little one being 14,
Yep.
my big one's 11,
Yep.
like. It's kind of like any day now,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
could happen.
yeah.
The little one's got a bunch of problems.
Sure.
The big one luckily doesn't really, but you never know.
don't.
And then it's that heartbreak. Like,
It is. It's
they're a member of the family, and it's
Definitely.
going to
My
devastate
dogs
us.
take up
Like
more
we
of
get
my bed
upset
than I
just
do.
thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like,
Without a doubt.
why do I want to do that to myself again?
Because we're ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah. Because they're so cute and fuzzy.
They are.
Yeah,
But
I know.
so we're like, no more pets. Plus,
Right.
she's like a clean freak, so she's always
Okay.
vacuuming. And yeah,
That's what I was here we go. Let's clink on that.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
we go. If you guys didn't hear it, it's tequila.
Yeah. I didn't know you were in on the tequila. I knew a couple others, but I didn't know that you were one of them.
When Don and Ro were just doing it, and Don, he quit to do it full time.
Yeah.
I stayed close with him, and I needed to make some money to throw into it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got to a place where we were comfortable, and I approached him. I was like, "Let me get in," and it was still in the beginning, and I was fortunate to be right opportunity, right
Yeah.
time. And it's like I love the product. It's fantastic. I take it on golf outings. I take it
Yeah.
out. Everybody always loves it, especially the coconut lime. The coconut,
the coconut-
nobody has. It's
Which
refreshing.
is crazy. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's surprising that no one's come up with something
That's what
similar
I
like that
mean.
already.
It seems like you would.
And it was like, how could you? I mean, there's so
It's a
many
part of
different
tequila.
exactly. I mean,
You know what I mean?
it's something that, right, like when you talk about mixed drinks and stuff like that, it's like
Yeah.
flavors that you would naturally just do
Easy.
anyway. So
Easy.
it's really weird that no one ever did.
Yeah, and he did it so right though. It's
And
so
you look
good.
at so many different flavored liquors, and it feels like tequila's missed out on that flavored liquor part. Not to say that it's like flavoring just added,
yeah,
right? But
yeah.
like you see like all the flavored vodkas, and now you're starting to see flavored whiskeys, and it's
Sure.
like, I'm surprised tequila missed that one. Like it didn't hit it, which I'm kind of glad it didn't.
So glad because it's all that sugar garbage,
Yeah,
right?
and it maybe that's why, because to be proper tequila, I got a very extensive schooling on the history of tequila from Don, you know, like it has to be from Mexico. It can only come from this region and all that. So maybe because of that lockdown on tequila, it's prevented it from going those routes. Because even with the coconut lime, right, it's like natural flavors. It's natural, not like some syrup you're just adding, right?
Exactly.
You know, and then the reposado and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. It is. It's got to be. How does it feel to be like, yeah, I kind of own a tequila company. I got a little piece.
My guy, my liquor store at my corner, he's got it. So like you go in there and you see it, and it's like, oh, that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, like you never received $1 of anything, or,
right?
But it's still like you walk in something, it's like, man, what is really cool is, you know, like just we're gonna do this real quick, right? Dad died when I was young, single mom, blah blah blah, from Redford, blah 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 blah, right? So at that kid though, you tell that 12-year-old or 15-year-old, 16-year-old that you're gonna own the littlest piece of a tequila company one day. He's gonna. What are you talking about?
Right.
You know, how do you get to that point where you're going to own it?
I'm with you, like, on where I've even gotten to, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. Right before you showed up, Megan's upstairs, and she was like, hey, Jay. And I was like, what? She goes, can you believe this is our house?
Yeah.
Like, we've lived here a year now, over a year, and almost every day,
little pinch yourself.
We're just like, this is our house.
Right.
Because I never own this. I mean, like, so, like, I mean, it's interesting to hear how you just rattled off that stuff, you know. Dad died young, single mother, blah, 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 blah. Because
everyone's got the blah, blah, blah.
Because a lot of people can get lost in the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, this is why, like, oh, this is why I'm where I'm at, because I went through all these things. So it's interesting to see that mindset of, like, doesn't matter where I'm going, that stuff doesn't matter. Because it's refreshing to see. I think too many people get lost.
Well, I hope my grandpa gave that to me because I was lucky enough to. So like I got the blah blah blah, but then grandpa was just grandma and grandpa were really close. Stay with them, and I have tons of love from my family, right? So it's not like everything was horrible, but grandpa just, you know, he's a baby at 18. Through the Great Depression, right? I mean, he was born in 29, or was it 22, 29, something like that, right? And then I spent a lot of time with him, and the things he distilled to me, like, you're dealt the cards you're going to dealt. What are you going to cry about him? If you're going to cry about him, who's going to fix him? There's only one person that can fix anything to do with it, and it's going to be yourself.
So, it's interesting, right? Because that's a philosophy that resonates with me a lot, too, and that's something that I told my son. And with my son moving out, it was not fun.
No,
like police were involved. It was a wild.
I apologize on my congratulations.
No, it's okay because it's better for it. It's better for him.
Yeah,
because he needed to learn some hard lessons.
Sure.
Right. And Megan and I talk about this.
We all do.
We talk about this sometimes too, though. Like, are we spoiling our kids because we're working hard for the life that we want to live, and so by association, they think this is how life is supposed to be too.
Yeah.
And he was super entitled, and I don't know why, because we never just gave him anything freely. You know, like it was wild.
See TV lately?
Well, yeah, and I mean that's social media's got to be a large part of it, right? Because like he'd always be like, "Oh, you're making me miss out on what I'm living. I'm not living my life, and you're holding me back." And
God, that's frustrating, isn't it?
It is, but what was nice is that after he moved out and he got to see the grass on the other side, right? Because like his mom wasn't involved in his life a lot.
Okay.
And she had always told him like, oh, it's your dad doing this and it's your dad doing that when she would happen to talk to him.
Right.
So he moved in with her and things were not better just because he had no rules. Things were not just better. And then he eventually reached out to me and to my wife and was like, so Megan was involved in his life since he was 3.
Yep.
Right. And they've always had a contentious relationship.
Sure.
He reminded her of her brother who has some issues and like would beat up their parents and stuff. Like he was just kind of crazy. So Dylan reminded her of him. Mm-hmm. So she kind of had like PTSD kind of stuff with that. Like I lived with an asshole all my life. I'm not dealing with another one. You know, he had this like, I want a mother figure, but you're not loving me like I feel like my mom should, and she's not really in the picture.
It's a difficult situation.
So they were always at each other. Well, he reached out after he moved out. Like a month later, and was just like, hey, I realized like why you guys did this stuff. Nice. I see what you're talking about.
Right.
And he called me, or I called him because he was having some stuff and I just want to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, I was an idiot when I lived at your house, right? And this is only after like a month. And I go, I will not dispute that you were an idiot when you were here.
But I
Because
still
you were.
love you.
I still love you, and I'm still here to help you. But to see him like have that realization, and he told me, he goes, one of the things, Dad, that you always told me, and I can see now why you said it and why it's true, is that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we let it affect us and how we react to it.
That's true.
And I told him that all the time because like his mom's had drug habits and stuff, and she just relapsed again. And it's like,
in front of him?
No, so I mean, like, while he was with her.
Yeah, so kind of in front of him?
So now everyone is out of her house, and she's got all kinds of crazy stuff going on, right? But she's like stealing from her family, stuff like this, stole a bunch of stuff from him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I can't control what she's doing, but I can let it not really be something that's going to impact who I am and how I'm going forward. And he's like, so I understand why you said all that stuff now, because it makes sense, and I believe it.
Right.
And like, that's exactly what your grandpa's saying, right? You're dealt the cards you're dealt, but the only one that can change it is you. Yeah. And again, I think that's with a lot of stuff and a lot of the guests that I talk to, right? And
Don the same way.
Even Don
big.
And
he
Don
got more grit than me.
Don has
he had it way worse than me too.
Don has a great a word, right, of like the wantrepreneur.
Oh,
he uses wantrepreneur, right? I want to do this, but you don't really have that drive, or you can come up with too many excuses on why not to do it. So
everybody can. Everyone's got. I remember I used to tell the classes and we won't use the word of where we came from, but like at the hut we used to work at. Or do you use the word?
I don't use the word.
Yeah, don't use the word because I like not the word. The hut we used to work at, but like we used to tell everybody, right? And I mean, I probably shouldn't have said stuff like that, but hey, dude, excuses are like assholes or buttholes, right? And we all have them. They all stink. Yeah. I don't care what they are. Like, and that is. Sure, I care if something's wrong, and I do care about that. But if something's wrong every day, what are you doing to fix that technique of why something always wrong? Are you always running on the house later? Does one thing pop up? If you do have your ducks in a row, sure, things happen. Things happen to me. Right. And I'm not saying I always have my ducks in a row, but things happen. But or do you have a trend of it happening? And if you have a trend of these things happening, what can you do? And really, what is the sauce? It's little itty bitty tweaks. I'm telling you, it's tweaks. It's little tweaks that you make. And oh man, I'm getting passionate about this because I remember how much I used to like this stuff. But when working with people and helping them recognize it, but when you make these little tweaks and you make a bunch of them, it's little lifts, and it happens they're huge changes on the outcome of what you're looking at. So if you, and so much of us were like, oh my God, we gotta move a mountain to, just get the smallest little effect that we want. It's not small little changes. And I don't know where I recognize that, but I started
It's okay. I can pull it out. All
right, perfect. So I started at the hut when I was like 21 years old, and
that'll be the second time I've ever had to censor something.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I would give you that second time too. But so I started at 21 years old, and it was about 2009. Right?
I'm writing down a timestamp so I know when this is.
Right, because you don't want to go searching for it.
No. Well, part of the editing, like with the camera angles, is I have to rewatch this entire thing so I can edit it all together.
Oh man, that's
so depending on how. So like a 3-hour episodes usually takes me about 6 hours worth of editing.
No way.
Yeah, it's wild.
That is wild. But just to get to it, so I started at 21, and we're talking 2009. So we're thinking 2009, right? Housing was horrible. Rates were, 6%. I mean, it wasn't like no one's like, hey, go sell mortgages or go get into this industry. And the people that ran that industry, they weren't as known as they are today. So it was more like, you do what the F I say, the F how I say it, and you're as long here or... I mean, it was a way different place. No, we don't have dogs on every floor. It was a way different place. So I was able to... I don't know, it was militant style. I got whipped into shape. I was able to take myself accountable, put business plans into place, execute on goals, make measurable goals on how to attain them, and look at business from a whole different functioning level through that. And really, it makes what I'm doing today so much more easier because, I mean, I used to, at some time, I think at one point, I was probably had 50 people under us, right, in that world. And then with the three people running the show, you had a lot more than that. I mean, I only got babysit myself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about that, right? Yeah. The reason that you're here, and that was part of why, right? I wanted to reach out to you and to help you promote yourself, right? Obviously, especially being a real estate agent, right? It's a lot of promotion to get people to know your name, right? But also because I mean, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I want to answer them.
So the first one being, you came from the mortgage industry, and we had this little chat slightly beforehand, so we'll have to repeat some of that stuff. That's the tough part about having a podcast to talk about these things, is these conversations happen so naturally anyway, and then it's like, all right, no, stop talking. We gotta save it, right?
Yeah.
So your history in the mortgage industry, period, before getting to a real estate agent.
Yeah. So
what was that?
Yes, I started off as a mortgage banker, right when before, and I was like right in that transition of Dodd-Frank rules coming out, right? All those financial rules that got put into place after the financial crisis of 2008. So when all those rules went into place, you could just willy-nilly write loans before, but then you had to get licensed, and the company went through a bunch of switches. So I started off as a banker, went through that. Came out the other side fine, got licensed in a bunch of places, was a banker for a couple of years. Then they were expanding, right? Had opportunity in underwriting, and I was always interested in there. That was going to be pretty cool, and I thought I was going to be
That always successful. Was wild to me. Like, how many people just wanted to be underwriters?
Yeah.
Underwriting to me.
It was like coveted role.
I know. It was weird, and like, I was like, I don't know, it feels too monotonous for me. Like, yes, every loan is different, but at the same time, I was like, I need something more than that. So it was really weird to me that was people's goals. Right. I want to be an underwriter.
I don't think I could have did it for
I know the money can be sweet.
10, 20 years.
But yeah, it's wild to me. It just never was that appealing to me.
I hear what you're saying after that. I've done it for a long time.
After the experience?
After the experience. I'm totally, and that's why I stayed most of the time. I went back to it for a brief period of time, but when I got back into it, it was, and I don't mean for this to sound a certain way, but it was so ground level that I wanted to be, I wanted to have,
you wanted a higher view.
I wanted a higher scope of things, right? And help things move. Like, I want to pull the loans that are getting held up. Why are these getting held up? They have anticipated closing
more
dates.
More like problem solving and stuff like that. Yeah.
And at a broader level, right? To have a bunch of hands in it, which was cool. But so I was banker, underwriter, and then we were killing it as a company, right? Back in the day here, it was like, it was a camaraderie, right? A mantra. Yeah. Everybody was together. Let's do this. We're going to be number one. We're a part of it. So we're expanding. Okay, we need leaders. And I was 26. I never thought I was going to get it. I was 26. Like, oh man, how cool I could be and I think it was a captain. I went and interviewed it, and I was already doing this stuff anyways, right? I was already helping with team members. Anybody had issues?
You were a go-to,
I was
right?
a go-to. And
what's the make yourself the obvious choice?
Yeah,
you were the obvious choice.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I was always the obvious choice because my mouth, it doesn't always censor.
Look, okay, when I first met you, I was like, oh man, this guy's going to get himself into trouble.
Oh, quickly, too. I was always I might not have done it to say that, did I? But I always did things from... It would always come from the heart, right? Nothing was ever malicious, nothing. And I was always trying to better everyone, right? I believed it. You're a leader. Yeah. You lead these people. What are your goals? What can I do to help? Like, what can we do to help the company as well? I was living it. I was drinking a lot of Kool-Aid at the time.
Yeah.
I'm off the Kool-Aid. But
same.
Right. So, leader, team captain, became a leader. And then I was a leader pretty much to the end of it, so that was about 10 years. And then I became a real estate agent, and I started a partnership. Well, I really just joined the Weaver Realty Group, and every realtor has to hang their license somewhere. So we hang our license at EXP, and then we have our team, right? The Weaver Realty Group. And Jerry Weaver's the guy. I ended up knowing him just through transactions through. We stayed in good contact through the years.
There it is again.
Oh man, I did say it again. You're right. Gosh. At the Hut.
Oh, hilarious.
At the Hut, 111. Timestamp it.
Let's see, 20. I'm going off the actual minutes on the recording. 28 minutes.
Yeah, let me pour up some more tequila.
Oh, this is going to get worse with the more tequila.
Right. So, what were we saying?
Oh, man.
Jerry, I had worked with him at the previous place a lot. And
now, is this related to the other Weavers?
No, this isn't. Yeah, really? There's a lot of Weavers out there.
Just a coincidence.
This is a coincidence. Yeah. So, me and him stated he would always call me, hey, I'm having an issue with this, or we'd bounce things off of one another. And he was always, I think you'd be great in this world. And outside of where I was at in the Hut, I always had 7 groups of friends, right? So I went to the Catholic school, which was paid for my grandparents. I know I said I was from Redford. I said I'm not gonna drop. I went to a Catholic school, I'm walking a little bit back, but went to the Catholic school, had all those friends. Right. I played hockey, had all those friends. I had a little, my neighbors and stuff, they were a couple years older than me, so I made a lot of friends with them. I had the friends who were my own age. I had a huge network of people, right?
Right.
I mean, I played hockey since I was 3-4 years old. I played hockey on some really good teams that were families that stuck together for a lot of years and met a ton of people, right?
I could totally see you trash talking in hockey.
Oh, I am the worst. I mean, my team will tell you I am the worst. I didn't even make it through I didn't even make it through the whole game on Friday. I got booted out. I'm the worst. Yeah.
Are you still playing?
Oh, I still play.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I still play. I'll
Okay.
probably be playing hockey my whole life.
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's cool.
So I got a wide range, a network of people. So he was always like, you come over here, you take what you transfer from your passion for delivering high quality service. I mean, because what can you do? I mean, everyone knows a real estate agent, right? I mean, the bartender last week was a real estate agent. Your 4 guys that work for the fire department or the police officers, which are fantastic, amazing first responder careers, but they're real estate agents too. Like, everyone knows a real estate agent, right? What are you going to be different? What can you do? Well, I have a long experience that I've done a lot of things inside the whole entire lending process. I've worked on purchases. I've worked on the places when you're being sued by FHA and pull all those loans on all those purchases way back to I did all the deep diving with other leaders on that. I've looked at so much stuff, a plethora of stuff. So I've been able to, okay, so who's gonna represent you? You want your guy who was blacking out people a week ago represent you, or somebody who's been in this industry
for a long time?
Yeah,
right.
well, in some deals, like some people, hey, this is, let's take the COVID area out of it. Oh, this is a house I want to buy. Nobody else is asking to buy, and I submit one offer, and we did our inspection, and everything was great. So those deals are fine. Sometimes you go to McDonald's, you get a Happy Meal, and it turns out great. But what happens when it's not?
Right.
What happens when something pops that is different or something goes down? I mean, and it's all gray. You need to live in an area all gray. You need to be able to operate in that area, and you need to be able to operate clearly and not panic others. I mean, there's so many different things that go into it. And that's what I want to represent. I want to bring hard situations and make them easy for you. I want to take everything away from folks that make it difficult. And another thing I think of is I don't have a license to be a lawyer, right? I don't have a degree in that. I can't help medically. I don't have anything there, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I still am able to contribute to not only society, but folks' lives on a major scale houses are huge, right?
Yeah.
And I have so many connections.
I mean, that's like one of the cornerstones of the American dream, right? Is owning your own home.
Is owning your own home. But if you listen to Grant Cardone right now, he says don't do it. But I don't know, even though he's got EXP license.
I mean, you know what? Like, even with that, it's interesting because I don't know. I can't remember when we bought our first house, but every property I've had, I've made money on. I made money on a mobile home.
Right.
And that's generally, you don't make money on a mobile home.
Just try to get away even then.
And I did.
Yeah, right.
So and then they made a shit ton.
Right.
It was wild. Hold on, real quick. I got my mobile home for $10,000.
Sure.
Right. It's 12 after closing costs and all that stuff. My dad helped me. It was this was one of those low points of man, I'm about to start. I was about to start living out of my car because of what had happened to the previous housing situation with what was going on. So my dad helped me. He was like, yeah, hey, if you can find something within this range, I can help you. We found this awesome double wide in Shelby Township in a nice park, right? Even though trailer parks have stigmas.
Sure.
It was a nice.
Maybe not trailer. If it was double wide, right? I don't know.
Yeah. So
whatever it was.
So I got that place for $10,000. I think I lived there for 5 years. Okay. And then sold it for 18.
Oh, nice little profit then.
They sold it for 45.
Oh man. So everybody's been doubling.
Yeah, everyone's been making more money. So it was interesting to see. One, because you typically hear that hey, mobile homes are just a bad investment. You're going to lose money on them, period, right? Yeah. So it was nice that I was able to make money. We got our first house in Warren. We basically doubled the value of that home. So we made our money back. Woo, yeah. We made our money back on that one. And we didn't even need to move. The last house that we moved out of, it was a family friend decided to put it up for sale. Their parents were living there, and one of them died. The other parent needed to go to a home or something. Yep. It had an in-ground pool. It was basically the same footprint of our house, just bigger. So it was the same floor plan.
So it was better for you guys.
It was just a bigger house with an in-ground pool. So it was sweet. So that's where we lived there, and then we sold that one and made $100,000 on it, and then now we're here in this house. So it's wild because every house I've sold has gone up. So it's hard for me to tell someone or to think like you shouldn't get into it, because just like now, right?
Yep.
With COVID, we had the over crazy evaluation of homes, and now it's starting to calm down because of the interest rates going up and all that, and everything's kind of getting normalizing again, right? Or going
payment's still the same though.
Or it is.
You know
or going into a lull, but if history's taught us anything, we know that it's going to go up and down.
Yeah,
and you
peaks
know
and
that
valleys,
know that the values are going to start climbing again eventually, and then you just take advantage of it then.
I agree. So if I was going to be buying a home right now, I'd probably be buying on an ARM product. Although I'm hearing, I have a lot of connections right in the lending world, but I'm hearing the ARM products maybe. You probably want to stick with a broker to get your pricing better on that. Maybe the traditional lenders, the big huts, their ARMs aren't making. I hear some 40-year products coming out, interest only for the first 10 years.
Well, they're also doing buy downs for the first year and stuff like that.
I like that. I do like those. Do the buy downs. Let's see if we can get some seller concessions going, right? Let's see if maybe the agent can help some way, shape, or form. I like the buy downs because those make sense, especially if, let's say, 3 to 5 years. So let's say 5 to 10 years, we think we're going to be refining again on a lower rate.
And that's what they count on, right? Like they count on you refinancing within like the next 5 years.
Correct. I think 7, maybe 5 to 7. You might know that statistic better than me.
Well, I mean, if you talk about like selling guides and continuance of income, right? It's like 3 years. So I mean, the minimum your income is supposed to keep going for is 3 years.
Sure.
So that to me is the indicator,
the trigger,
right? Is when they think, hey, after 3 years they may want to refinance.
Fair enough. I think it might be difficult to get. There's a lot of equity, so if folks, and I hope they don't, but if folks get caught up in blowing that equity, right? Because that equity is, save that.
Yes.
I don't think you necessarily have to pay more, even though I'm one of the ones that pay more on the house, which I shouldn't have, but I did refi to a 15-year. It's fantastic.
Okay.
And all this craziness. But I was paying more in the beginning, like when I was on my 3rd year, just because I wanted to be done. But at the end of the day, if you're paying more, just think of it as a bank then, right? I'm paying more, and that money is just being kept into the bank, which is, for us and like people of our net worth, I mean, let's talk we're not millionaires yet.
Right.
You know, we're going to get there one day, but we're not there yet, right? We're working hard on our craft and we're trying to get there. But maybe like those Grant Cardones and the billionaires, they can run things a little bit differently. But this is a way to build a piece of that foundation.
For
so
sure.
Maybe you don't necessarily have to pay it down, but if you wait for that equity to go up and you're able to tap into it ways like that, that is fantastic. Like, especially the ways you tapped into it. If you use it for Christmas or for a vacation, I mean, use it for whatever you want, I guess, because it's America. But if you use it for those things, think you might be stealing from yourself, which can be very important down the long run. For example, my mom just happened to have 2 houses free and clear. You know, one of them,
situation.
Right. One of the ones was that, you know, was the first one we moved into Redford. She took how long to pay that off, right? And she did. And then she had the ones that she bought from the family once her mother died, right?
Okay.
Her mother and father died. She bought those from the family. Well, she got them free and clear, and she was able to sell them now. And she moved into a bigger house. Like, she sold these 2 houses in Redford for over both these houses. I got $214 for one and $190 for the other. Crazy. We're talking 1,000 square foot homes in Redford, right? So it was the agent, guys. Everyone, it was the agent. It was 100% the agent. It
was totally the agent.
Right.
I mean, definitely take advantage, right, of that crazy overinflation situation, probably. Right? Like,
but she bought that next house out in her next place. It's fantastic, and it's paid for.
It's paid for, right?
Paid for. She used that equity to grow her net worth, and now she's living in her retirement home in bigger land, better area. She got $3 million houses on the lake right across the street you can hit with. Right. I mean, like, it's fantastic. Now, how else would she have done that?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
it's wild. Like, and I mean, like
there's other avenues to do it
paying off of houses and stuff too. I think it might have been easier a little bit when you know, generations ago, it might have been easier when the cost of living was lower or the dollar, you know, houses weren't so expensive. I can't imagine refining anytime soon just because I'm in like a stupid like 2% interest rate.
Yeah.
Like it's
mine's 1.75.
Oh God, listen to that. Right. Why would you? You know, so what is interesting though, you were talking about, you know, like cash outs and stuff like that, like banking on the equity that you have and turning it into money that you
credit
need.
Cards,
or like
high interest.
Yeah,
stuff.
I had to. So the last house, I had to do a cash out. I was self-employed for a while.
Taxes.
I was 1099.
Yep.
there was a couple things going on.
Yeah.
One, I was 1099 and I was living paycheck to paycheck still.
So you can't save money for taxes.
Right. It was hard to, as a self-employed person, you're going to owe taxes pretty much every year. But then also as part of my divorce, right, depending on how much money the other person made, they could or could not claim our child, our son, on their taxes. Well,
depending on how much they made?
Yeah. Because
so if you
make under a certain amount, you don't get that child care credit anyway. You don't get that so you don't get the credit anyway. So
they didn't want you to lose it.
It'd be pointless for you to when I could.
That's fair.
So
I thought it was you were about to say the opposite.
They never provided proof. So part of the court stipulation was that they were supposed to give me proof that they had made this much so that I didn't claim them. Hey, it's your year to claim. You go ahead.
Right.
Never once did any of that, but claimed every year. So it turned into I would go to do my taxes.
So you owed the money that got claimed,
and then they'd be like, "Hey,
gotta love it.
We're refusing your credits because someone else already claimed that dependent child."
Yep.
So it turned into a game where me and my accountant we would file the first day you could, and then we would just do an amendment later on.
Oh, okay.
To clarify what everything was, just so we could beat her to the punch.
You were filed.
Right. So
that's some stuff,
it was some bullshit. So when it turned into when everything kind of came down to it, this was interesting too. I get a letter from the IRS. It's like, hey, you owe us this much money. Go to the website to set up a payment plan. So I go to the website. I'm like, all right, let me set up this payment plan because I've had multiples with them and things just always kept changing.
Plus, we see them we see those payment plans in our current.
And so I go and I'm like, all right, let me set up a new payment plan. And I go to set up the payment plan, and it says my minimum payment is like $4,000 a month. And I'm like, how? That's more than I make.
Yeah,
how is that how is that a minimum payment? So I called them, the IRS, to talk to them, and they said, oh,
which must have been a nice process.
It was a pain in the ass. But they were like, oh, so the statute of limitations, or basically the period of time which they could collect on certain dates that I owed, was approaching.
Oh, so
they were like, we need it all right now. So I had to cash out my house. So I had to cash out.
You couldn't just dodge them for 30 days?
They wouldn't let you. They were going. So this is one of the things, right?
How does it? So if there's a statute of limitations,
they'll start taking your accounts. They'll clear your accounts.
Yeah.
I've had my bank accounts emptied. The state of Michigan zeroed out my account. In my bank account, and I called them, bitch, and was like, yo, this was right before the first of the month. Like, my mortgage is due. I got kids. How are you just emptying my bank accounts? This is bullshit.
Care.
They didn't care at all. So the IRS will be the same way, right? They'll start garnishing. They'll empty accounts. They'll do whatever they got to do to get their money.
Hey, man, they get their money, don't they?
They do. So
biggest mafia around there.
So we did a cash out, right?
Okay.
And paid us like $25,000.
Whatever. If you got to do it. Get as much as you can. Right? Call it a day.
But even that. Right, we did a cash out, $25,000 I had to pay to the IRS. We paid off some other debts too, and a year later we sold for $100,000.
$100,000,
like a year later, maybe 2 years later.
They said COVID was a bad thing, but some people COVID was a
funny
great thing.
Because she was of the mindset she's like, I know for how much we're paying, we could be getting so much more. We need to just buy it, move. She always wanted to move, and I was always like, let's play the long game. Let's just keep paying this thing down, so then one day we can take advantage of the market and we can have more equity and we can just make a shit ton of money.
Sure.
But then she was like, can you just see what we can get approved on? So I reached out to a banker. I was like, let's just do an approval, see what we can get, saw what we could get. And I was like, all right, just because we can get that doesn't mean we should. We did.
That's how it always goes, right?
But once I started looking for some houses, and I was like, yo, I could get like a bunch of land for this price and this house. Yeah. And then once we started looking at like what we could sell our house for,
starts making a lot more sense.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I have like an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, drive to the office when I have to go in. So at the point that I moved, it was full.
Let's recognize that as family dedication right there. That is pretty solid stuff, man.
At the point that I moved, I was full remote. Right, we were full remote at the time, so
somebody's got to work in those buildings.
It made
ton of sense.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna work from home in this beautiful in the woods, right?
For the rest of my life. Bye.
I knew we were gonna come back eventually, and I was like, well, if I love where I live,
it'll be worth it.
I love the area, the drive would be worth it, right? I'll make that sacrifice because I do. We absolutely love where we're at.
Yeah,
it is peaceful. It's quiet. Yeah. I don't have noisiness. I lived so if you know the Sterling Heights area, I lived only a few houses off of 16 Mile.
Busy.
It didn't matter the time of night.
No.
There was something
Traffic.
driving down the road.
Yeah. Or a semi, so you really heard it. Yeah.
And it sucked too because I had this beautiful backyard. So half of my backyard was this monster in-ground pool. We had a new patio poured with a pergola and a fire pit area. Like it was sweet. And then the other half was all like grass and trees and shade and nice for the dogs to go shit in.
Yeah.
So it was like a beautiful backyard. But I had 7 neighbors that touched my property.
Yeah,
right?
you felt like you were on display.
I was in a cul-de-sac, so I was like in a weird pie shape.
Just showed a house like that.
And so I had 7 neighbors that touched my yard.
That's so much.
And depending on, this piece of fence was that neighbor's fence. This piece of fence was that neighbor's fence. I had one neighbor that was using ribbon to tie their fence together to keep it up. Another one, it fell down. We just put up new fencing.
Right.
We're like, hey, we're just going to put it up. I wasn't even trying to split costs because they had just moved. A nightmare.
Right.
So
what a pain.
It was a huge pain. And it was like I go sit out by the pool and I'd be smoking a little bit, have a whiskey or something, chill out by the pool, and all I hear is down the road and shit.
Right.
And it's like, man, this sucks. Like I want to enjoy this. I want to see the stars. I can't because there's all these lights. So coming out here, it is weird because sound carries very well out here.
Sound travels far.
So
Especially when there's nothing
not
in the
even
way.
5 minutes down the road, there's a lake or a reservoir. Right?
Yep.
So it's the Flint River turns into this big reservoir. I can hear boats, jet skis, and people yelling when they're out there.
No
I've been
kidding.
outside. I heard, whoa, ho, yeah, go faster. And it's wild because it's just carrying across all that
Right.
open land.
That is nuts, isn't it?
It is weird,
Pretty cool.
but at night it's quiet. It's
Right.
peaceful. It's super quiet. Once in a while I can hear like what sounds like freeway. I don't know if
Right.
that is the freeway or not. Maybe it's just some of these busier
Sure.
roads. But generally it's fucking quiet.
You gotta
out here.
love it.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's nice to have that peacefulness and not have to listen to all that. I don't. Like you saw the roads, there's barely any cars out here.
No, I think one
I gotta
guy
worry
almost
more
hit me
about
because-
deer. I gotta worry more about
yeah.
hitting deer. My dad just totaled his van.
Oh,
the
no.
other
Is he
day.
all right, though?
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
a
It
deer?
wasn't leaving here. He didn't stop to check. And he just kept going. He goes, I looked at my gauges and I saw my water level was still
Oh,
good.
get home,
And he
get
was like,
home,
I just
yeah.
went home. He was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't losing. My engine wasn't overheating. I wasn't losing.
Right.
Just go home.
Get home.
Yeah. So it's been absolutely beautiful and it's totally worth it. So that commute made sense for us. For her, she was working every day in the office. Her drive was like about 45 minutes, so it wasn't as bad. Now she's down to 1 day in office.
That's solid.
So for her, it's like I've been going in more and she's been going in
And
less.
less. Right.
So internet was like one of the things that was a deciding factor because some of the areas that we looked at, and if you don't know, check for your state. I don't know if you even say this. Maybe you should.
Sure.
Depending on where people live.
Let me learn something new, baby.
So Michigan has a website that's in partnership with the different broadband services and internet providers. That it shows a map of Michigan and it tells you if you click on that area or put in an address, it tells you what services are available at what speed.
Oh,
so
nice.
for us, there was a couple houses that she was like one way in the tip of the thumb, and I pulled it up and was like, we can't work remotely there. They don't have good enough internet. Right. So
that's limiting.
So that helped us figure out areas that
Elon
we
will
wanted
fix
to look
that
at.
soon, though.
Yeah, eventually.
Starlink.
Yeah. I've read things
Do you
on
got
it.
it?
No,
I was thinking about it.
no. Actually, what's interesting is so I have high speed internet, right?
Yep.
My neighbor down the street, the one that burns all the time. We were talking about the boiler.
Yeah.
He doesn't. And when I got my septic tank pumped,
Yep.
they couldn't find it, so they had to bring an excavator and they cut my internet cable. And my neighbor, he came over to see if everything was okay because he's like, I saw you had an excavator come over here. He's like, oh man, hopefully there's not like a problem with your septic tank. I was like, no, we were just getting it pumped. Good thing we did because it had never been pumped at all. And it was interesting because it's a cement tank, and that's how they knew it had never been pumped. The cover, when they first put it in, it had never been opened because they have to break through the cement with a crowbar to pump it. So they knew it had never been pumped.
They didn't know where to find the top of it, right?
Right.
So you had to take all that ground off of it.
So like what they do is a guy comes out with a prod
bar.
and he sticks it in the ground in all these different spots.
Yep.
And generally it's like 2 feet
Yeah.
below the ground.
I've seen them. They dig it up, but like in your instance, they couldn't find
So they couldn't
the
find
lid, right?
So
Usually the lid's marked.
They couldn't even find the tank.
Oh, really?
Right, and so we had to go. I had to.
They couldn't find the septic field at all.
Well, the field, I know where it is. You can go look at my grass and see where the field is.
But you couldn't find
the tank.
That's crazy.
And then the schematic from the health department, when the house was built and the tank was put in, so they told us,
permits,
they go, hey, you got to contact the health department. They'll have a drawing of where the tank is. That drawing is completely off.
Really?
Yes.
Did it move, settle?
Nope.
Maybe the ground settled?
No. I'd have to show you and show you where the tank actually is for you to understand. But like the point of the house that they referenced was the wrong point.
Lovely.
So they said it was
off the wrong.
They said it was 15 feet from this one corner, and it was 15 feet from a completely different corner. Right. So
somebody was drinking that day.
So So the dude is like prodded, can't find it.
He's just struggling
just
too.
all over, and he's like, dude, I've been doing this forever. I've never had this happen. I can't find it.
Yeah.
So then they send the excavator out. I happened to be at the dealership, and I was hoping to be home before they got there. I'm at the dealership. They start digging where we know the pipe is coming out from towards the tank.
So they're just gonna follow it.
They hit it, and they're like, yeah, it turns out that, well, I mean, like, they barely hit it. Like, they didn't
break the pipe.
Right. They like, go little by little till they find something. They did cut my internet cable. But they found the
internet
pipe.
Cable always gets cut.
They found, right?
Always.
They found the pipe, and they were like, oh, man, based on this, it's probably under your deck, under your front porch. And so they left. So I come home from the dealership, and I'm like, all right, let me rip this shit up. So it starts raining. I'm out there ripping up
your deck up.
I ripped up my whole front porch.
Oh, my God.
Right? And I was like, it starts raining. I'm like, well, I'll dick around with this tomorrow. So then the next day, me and my daughter go out, and we start digging up the ground under the deck. And I find the pipe coming out, right? So I keep digging different holes, and I'm tracing the pipe back to the house. So I know there's no tank here because I'm hitting the pipe every single time.
Oh, it's just pipe.
Pipe. So that means
that's a good feeling.
So that means it
you just ripped it all
out
up.
in the yard. It is out in the yard. So then I call the company back, and I'm like, look, your guy came out here. I just paid money.
Yes, good
like
money.
A bunch of money for your excavator to come out here for 10 minutes, dig 2 holes, not find my tank, and cut my internet cable. Like, it is out in the yard. I found the tank. So I kept tracing the pipe out into my yard till I hit the corner of the tank. So then they did. They sent the guy back out with the excavator.
Free of charge?
Free of charge.
Okay.
So I can definitely, I was like, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because otherwise.
Well, dude, it was a lot of money. Yeah.
It's definitely a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
Heavy machinery is not cheap ever.
Right. So then they came back out. We drained the whole thing. But my neighbor comes over, and he's like, hey, I just want to make sure you weren't having issues or something because I saw the excavator and all that. And I was like, no, they couldn't find my tank, but they cut my internet cable. And he goes, wait, they cut your internet cable? I go, yeah. He goes, you have like high-speed internet?
Yeah, why can't you just run the cable to him?
I go, yeah. He goes, I talked to the cable company, and they told me it was going to be like $3,000 to $5,000 to run it to my house, and his house is only 2 houses down.
You gotta love these people,
so then he found out that I had it, and he was all pissed off, and he's all like, "What the hell?"
I'm pissed too.
He's like, "I got some
called him so quick."
He's like, "I got some bullshit over the phone internet. All my speeds are super slow, can't stream shit." And he's like, "And you've got to go, hey man, the previous neighbor told me he paid to have him run it, so maybe you need to talk to the company again, and they can junction it off, whatever they need to do."
Seems like you got it.
So apparently, I'm the only one on my street with high speed.
You're big time over here. That asshole down the street with that high speed internet over showing off again with his TV. That's funny. I like that.
Oh man. So
no, hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
My uncle, new build, huge development. I mean, you got paid like a G a month to live. Just the association dues this place. They've cut the damn internet 9 times.
No.
9 times.
You know what's weird is,
Nine
when they
times.
run the temporary lines.
Yeah.
So it was funny and I found this out when all this happened. So there was an orange line coming from the pole.
Yep.
That was like kind of buried, kind of not, like it
above,
like appeared above and below and stuff, you know. So when they cut that cable, I had to call the internet company.
Yep.
Hey, the cable got cut. Can you send someone out here to repair it? Guy comes out and repairs it. And I'm like, what's that orange line? He goes, oh, that's not even hooked up anymore. Do you want me to just pull that out?
Yeah.
And so he pulled the whole orange line. This whole time I'm worried about like mowing.
The orange line.
Mowing it. No, I'm like, that's the orange line. And that wasn't even the line.
That's lovely. These places, you got to love how they just show up.
So now I know where my tank is. So when I go to get it drained
Next
again, I know where it is. That is
I tell my clients
that's a rough job, man. That's a rough job.
And it's okay. So on the ones I've done, I've never done one out this way, but it's like $300 to $500 too.
Yeah. So
it's not enough for me to clean that.
So yeah,
No,
it's
you'd have to pay me a lot more, man.
It's so it depends on the size tank for how often you have to do it, right? Depends on the size tank, depends on how many people in the house, right? How many bathrooms, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so like we got, like I told you, it was like 17 years
So
before this thing had ever been drained.
Couple grand?
But it ended up only like the price of pumping was only like 300 something.
3 to 5, so I'm right there.
But with the excavator and stuff, that
that's
was
a whole
extra.
different ballpark.
Yeah, that was extra. But it turned into
An excavator ain't showing up.
the first person that owned here was a single person, so it wasn't like it wasn't killing the thing.
He didn't care.
The second person was a single person, so they weren't killing it.
Who lives out here single though? You gotta think you're going crazy.
Well, so the original owner was the son of my neighbor.
Oh, so he's just
her husband was a
next door to
builder,
mom and dad.
right?
Yeah.
So her husband and son built the
house, right?
Right, and then they lost it in 2008 during the whole market thing.
They lost it.
So she doesn't even want to look at my house. She's like, if I look at
your
yeah,
house.
she hates my house. Yeah,
Worth a passion.
You're not because it makes her.
You're not gonna get that land.
Yeah,
you're not gonna get.
She
that
loves
land.
me.
Oh, she does.
You're gonna have to
she
butter
loves
her
me.
up. I plow her driveway in the winter.
Okay.
You know, I cut up all
You're
this down
earning your
tree.
keep
I'm earning
back.
my keep.
Yeah, right.
She hated the last guy.
Yes.
So I'm definitely on better footing.
Plow the driveway.
She's like, oh, he put up hunting stands. He never even asked me for permission.
Right.
All this stuff. I'm asking.
Right.
You know, we're on a pretty good text message basis.
Okay.
She sends me pictures about the deer.
Dinner's
you
nice.
You gonna shoot the deer and stuff? Yeah. Megan's like, do I got to worry about you and Bonnie next door?
Yeah. Her birthday's 1938.
You know, so but it's been it was a wild experience in learning all that stuff about the tank and all that.
It's an eye-opening. Like at first you're like, I'm gonna use Riddick's for now. For sure.
What was wild too is the tank and how full it is affects how your drains work.
Fair.
And I never would have thought it would have had that much effect.
It was a big deal.
Like first of all, like. And she's gonna hate that I say this, but my daughter,
no.
her nickname is the Destroyer.
Oh, you're
just
wrong,
destroys
Dad.
Toilets, right?
You're wrong, Dad.
But it wasn't just her. It was like both toilets in the house were constantly getting clogged
because of the everything.
As soon as that thing was pumped, I haven't had a clog upstairs since.
Gotta love it.
Now, once in a while. Her bathroom.
The Destroyer
destroys.
Battleships.
The Destroyer destroys. Yeah. You know,
she's gonna kick your ass.
You know, so
you're gonna show her like prom date this. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
listen to
guess
this
who the
episode.
Destroyer is, bro. Your date tonight.
Oh, it's not just been our toilets. Like this is a family known thing. Like everywhere she's ever gone.
Destroyer's here again. Gosh, who invited the Destroyer here for Christmas dinner? Hey, I did that at Grandma and Grandpa's house one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
So it's it's just it's just wild the things that we've had to learn and come across being out here in this house. But yeah, like the equity and stuff like that, like I still can't see why you wouldn't recommend versus like renting an apartment.
Renting is ridiculous.
Like if you rent, you are making no return on that money.
Zero.
I can get if you like live at home with your parents, rent free or something.
You're saving.
Then you're just saving. Wait till the market's good, then go buy. My in-laws jumped into the market right now. They just bought a new house and they're trying to sell their house, and they've turned down a few offers, but the trend of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over asking price is gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's all.
And your agent should have told you that.
They're all undercutting now.
They should have been known. When did they list it? Listen, if it's
like
been
3 to 4 months ago.
It's still listed.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, so it's in Sterling Heights. They were very particular. They were selling.
Were they two?
They were selling an extra lot. It's right on DeQuinder.
So it's probably expensive.
Well, they sold the extra lot now.
It's not a package deal.
It was. Look, and maybe you'd get this from a lender's or from a realtor's perspective. I was like, you need to get your realtor to, because like it just said that it was like a 2-acre lot. It didn't say that it included in the listing the extra lot next to it.
That's
and
silly.
when you looked at the satellite photo that showed the lot lines, it did not indicate that the empty lot next to it was also included in this purchase price.
And you're paying that guy 6%?
I'm not paying anyone anything.
Fair enough.
But I was like, you need to, one, get them to upload an image that shows the entire lot.
Why would you have a
perimeter,
picture of it or something?
right? Well, like you can see it in the thing, but like the description of the
Or have it
home
highlighted,
was just
hey,
like
this
it's
is
not
all yours.
Yes, they didn't do that, and I was like, you need to. I was like,
Yeah, you
everyone
gotta highlight
looks
that stuff.
at like the lot lines and on the listings and
Big
stuff
time.
now.
Big
so.
time.
So now, like they're gonna have to accept less than what they're gonna still make a killing.
Fair.
So, all it has done now is just afforded them the time to move into their new house at their own pace.
Fair.
So that part too. So they're still gonna make money even if they take a reduced price. But when they were getting reduced offers that were like $20K under what they were asking, they were still turning those down.
I would have turned it down if it was before Labor Day.
It was before Labor Day.
Yeah.
So now it's like, all right, we may drop it 10 to 20K.
Well, now do you want to sell it?
Right. Now they're going to
How
want
much?
to.
What's the total price? Do you know?
It was listed for 4.
4.
So now they're
What's the
considering
square
like
foot?
380.
You got it off the top of your
No,
head?
I don't.
No.
It's a decent sized house. It's a nice house.
Sterling, let me think if I got somebody for Sterling Heights.
It's a nice house. If someone's looking, I'll give you the address and everything
Yeah,
when
for
we're
sure.
done.
Offline. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, because if you have someone looking in that area,
Here, I'll tell you though, people out there, get your houses for sold before the 4th of July weekend. That's when it all changes. I found it consistently every year. I've been hot. I've had houses that I'm like, oh, I can't wait for this house to list. It's going to be awesome. They're not ready, during the blah, blah, blah. So actually, for example, too, I got 2 examples here. So I had one, and I've every year I've been fortunate enough to have listings right before the 4th of July weekend that haven't been able to get ready for it, but it was either ready after 4th of July or 4th of July. That's the period. I'm telling you, people are different then. The sense of urgency is a little gone. It might come again in August when it's like, right before summer, before school. But 4th of July, people, I think they have looked a decent amount. They're burnt. It just is always different. Well, so we're talking about Don.
That is interesting.
I sold Don's house, right? And I came to Don. Don has a ton of things going on. My man is so busy, right? So he gives me his timeline when he wants to sell it. And I'm like, hey, if you can, the weekend before. I'm telling you, everything's going to change. He's like, I don't think I can. Well, if you put some in Don's mind, that boy will get it done.
Right.
Calls me about 4 days before. He's like, dude, I'm going to have it ready for you. I get on the phone with my photographer. I'm like, hey, I need you to open up time. I need to get over there. We're going to make it happen. So long story short, we got it sold. We got sold for over asking price. We got sold exactly how we wanted. We made a killing off of it. We ended up getting multiple offers, blah, blah, blah. But the next weekend came, and you saw all the other homes in the neighborhood. Like, because, I track these.
Right.
When we're looking at, okay, hey, they're pending over there. This one's going active. I got yours going up. I checked these. Nothing sold in the next week. And then the next week after that, when they did sell, they were for asking price or had
it started dropping.
concessions.
So it was like, right.
Well,
this was, you were saying, the weekend before 4th of July.
Weekend before 4th of July, that's got to be the last weekend to do it, because when everybody goes into 4th of July, 4th of July is always, it's like a big built up. People and then you go have a lot of fun, and it's like, okay, I don't know, whatever the psyche is behind it, but I'm telling you, it's different. I've always went into 4th of July, even though I've had, okay, maybe let's not list it this weekend, but let's go the next week after, like July 15th, July 16th, I don't care when it is in July. It's different. Wow. It is 100% different.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about now, right? So you get out of the mortgage industry.
I get out of the mortgage industry.
What did it look like getting into the real estate world, and what would be, in your opinion, the common misconceptions people have about getting into real estate? Because you talked about, right?
Yep.
The bartender down the street, now he's a realtor now too.
Yep.
The local cop, he's a realtor. Like all these people that are realtors on the side.
Yeah.
And this is what you do full time, right?
Yes, sir.
So to make it a full time thing and to make it worth it.
Yeah.
What are those misconceptions that people have? Because it does feel like people are like, oh, I could just go get my real estate license, sell a couple houses, be banking. Like, what was it like for you getting into it? And then what do you think those misconceptions are about getting into this world?
Great questions, too, and I love to answer them. So what was like for me?
Because there's barely been any questions this whole time.
We've just been chatting. Yeah, right. So what it's been like for me, though, is like I can tie it back to what we talked about earlier, is I've got all those groups of people, right? And then I'm making the transition between 20, maybe 33, so I'm 35 right now, so like 32, 31 is when I became a real estate agent.
How long ago was it now?
I think I'm going on 4 years. 2000, so it'll be my 4th year next year, right?
Cool.
So I have all those people. I'm in the world as it is, right? So it's not
Right.
like I'm leaving pharmaceuticals and going to, sell Beyond Meat, right?
It's the same.
I'm in the world. I know people. I got connections. So it's not the biggest leap in the
Right.
world.
You're not
right?
going.
It's not. It was strategic.
Yeah.
Let's say that. So I knew I had deals coming in. So I quit. Do my whatever they needed me to do. I quit on good terms or whatnot.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah,
Was it a voluntary? You left?
Yeah. I left. I wrote the resignation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wrote it. I left them.
All right.
They.
I was curious.
I probably could have got the other one because I would my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, so. It wasn't like
I know.
it was my mouth to people that reported up to me because I think I always had their back. And I probably was a leader too good. And what I mean by too good is they told you were supposed to lead your people and do everything you can in the power for the best of your people. Well, they really mean the business.
Yes.
Right? They really mean the business.
Let's like
be
on
real.
real talk, right?
They really
it is the
want-
business.
And I would push back on when I was supposed to be a yes man way more often than I probably should have. And if I've ever want to interview again, this is probably going to ruin that. But I would always.
No, they're not listening.
Fair enough, right. I would always push back on stuff like this. Like, hey, do you know how this touches the end user? Do you know how, that's where I remember we got rid of one system and had another system. And I'm in there with the VPs and I'm like, hey, what did the last one work too good? Is that why we're getting rid of this one? And, I get a sharp head slip like, oh, okay, Mike's here. Like, here's, again, like, oh, we got dogs on every floor. Okay, great. Do we still close? How many loans closed per team member do we do nowadays versus how many loans closed per team member was it 7 years ago? Right? So, like, I did but it wasn't ever like, oh, F you, you're wrong. I would just push back. So I think there's a lot more. They were looking in the yes, stamp, yes.
Well, what's
stamp,
funny is that you're
yes.
saying that like with the yes
I'm
men
not the
thing.
yes man guy.
With the yes man thing is that some ideas that were being toyed with when you were there,
They're no longer. Yeah.
that were like, hey, this is the way forward, and then they were like, never mind.
Yeah.
They're coming back again.
I
Like
love
it's
it.
it's like didn't
there is
what
it's
makes
like-
a difference.
it's
It is.
cycles.
It's really,
Yeah,
and I don't
it's
know
funny.
if it's a change in like the people at the top just don't
Right.
remember that stuff happened.
Well, if you
And
remember,
it's
there's
like-
two different tops right now, right?
Yeah. So it's really really interesting to see like some of these things but they're branded differently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, isn't that what we did like 5 years ago that got canned and like now we're doing it again? Like, what changed?
Yeah.
It is really interesting.
One of the guys. All right, just tequila got me talking too much. Right?
So
Yeah.
so anyway, so you left voluntarily. I was always surprised. That would have been my concern, knowing you.
Probably been
what I
forced,
did
yeah.
was like because of your personality,
Sure.
right? And I still do have the video of you like humping the air.
I was gonna ask about that.
I do
Yeah.
have that. That's
You
forever.
got
It's hilarious. But knowing your
yeah.
man, I don't.
I'm
I don't wanna
sure
say
it was like, if
outrageous,
you don't do this, then this is gonna happen.
but
you
just
know what I
knowing
mean?
your personality, and I think like when you say like you led too well,
Which is a really
you come across
egotistical
as
thing,
real,
so I don't
right?
mean
You
to
come
be like
across
that.
as real because you didn't have the filter you should have had sometimes.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
And if you
But
did
it's
have
bullshit, right? It's a bullshit filter.
Yeah.
And I've never been about. I'm not. I believe the things growing up as a kid that they said, right?
Yeah.
Like the Boston Tea Party was like, because we don't want to pay taxes. But now it's like, what the? You're still paying taxes every day. You guys screwed up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You guys are stupid.
well, like you
but-
said, is drinking the Kool-Aid and
Yeah. So I probably, that was my downfall. And it's till this day, right? Till this day.
but it's a kind of brutal honesty, right? And I don't know if it's necessarily like a flaw or something that
Sure.
that's
That'll be decided when my obituary is written, right?
sure made a lot of people laugh, probably pissed off some people.
Sure.
But I think it lends to like a lot of the trends that you see nowadays is just people can't take a joke, or people get so
That's
offended
true.
about every damn thing,
Yeah.
or people get
Well, you give them a form to be pissy about
or
everything,
people
too.
get offended about like people get offended for someone else. Right? Like
Yeah.
I've gone through things and I've had people close to me that are like, I'm mad about what you're going through. And I'm like, I'm not mad about it. So if I'm not
Sure.
mad about it, why are you mad about
Sometimes that's like to make you feel good, right?
it? Maybe.
Or maybe it's like a defense factor on their
it's,
half.
it's weird. So like you just, you have that out, and I appreciate it. And that's why I was like, oh, I got to talk to Jerv.
Yeah.
Or Mike.
I got to be careful what I say on this thing, right? Yeah.
Because you're
Should've brought
entertaining
my-
to begin with.
Fair. I
You've
appreciate
always been
that.
funny.
Thank you.
Besides funny looking, as you said.
Yeah. That was. I knew you'd like that one too.
So
I don't have glasses anymore.
Yeah,
Can you
oh.
appreciate that?
Yeah. And then I was wearing glasses.
I was
So did you do
expecting my
LASIK?
we were expecting my and first I could never get contacts in my eyes, so I'm like super like don't touch my eye, don't get anything around my eye.
Yeah.
So I played hockey all these years with glasses.
Really?
Never took them off. So come up, I'm like, okay, my firstborn's on the way. Okay, so she starts screaming in the middle of the night. She needs me. Oh, I gotta find my glasses to get to her. No, you're done with the
So
nonsense.
how bad was your vision?
So I was probably
Like I don't need my glasses to see you clearly.
Yeah,
right here.
I would have, right? Like, I would have for sure. Sure, I could read really well on things up close, so I was at nearsighted or
nearsighted,
something.
yep.
But far away, mine was bad. So if if you've been years of getting eye exams, like I was like -6. So I can see the shape of you, and maybe if I might run into you if I try to get there. But it was pretty bad.
Okay.
So I needed them for everything, right? You get in the shot. I like for one of the things I always say is like I can never see in the shower, right? Like sure you can see, what's going on,
Really?
but like does that say suave? I don't
Wow.
know. It's just green. But I mean, I know there's letters there, but you can't see it, right? And like everything's blurry. So, but one of the
Hey
coolest.
babe, can you grab me my shampoo? Which bottle is it? The
Yeah,
green bottle,
right.
the red bottle? Like,
Right. Things like that. You know what I mean? But now, it's like I got fighter pilot vision. It's awesome. I remember one of the
That's
cool things, the first thing, and I'm going to piggyback to how bad it sucks.
I've never heard anyone describe their vision as fighter pilot vision.
Yeah, well, I'm like,
So you
Top
love that
Gun
new
is
Top Gun,
awesome. Yeah, man. Hey, my wife told me we couldn't buy it the other day. Bought. Yeah, Prime, quick as shit. She buys everything on Prime. This is it. She buys so much stuff on Prime. It's like, hey, we got a new box. She looked at me the other day. What box? Like, exactly. Bought Top Gun. Prime that shit, right? Got it instantly. So fast delivery.
Dude, my daughter, we watched the first one, and she was like, it was okay.
What?
It was kind of corny. If you think about like how it aged and everything, like it's kind of corny.
You got to be a 80s
But-
or 90s baby.
So we went to go see the new one in the theater, and she was like, about it. We walked out of that theater. Oh my god, that was so awesome. That part hilarious. Oh my god, we got to see that again. I got to buy that. Hey, when's it gonna come on streaming? She was so about
It's
that
so
movie now.
awesome, right? I'm thinking, you remember how Leo in Titanic was? I think I'm gonna call up to like 93.1 DR King. Like, I saw it 44 times. I saw it. I don't know. It's just,
As the funniest descriptor. I have fighter pilot vision now.
But so I remember one of the coolest things was I'm like driving home, and this wasn't after I'd done like a couple days, a week later, let's say when it was safe and everything. I could see the lights like a mile down.
It was
changing.
It was
I'm like,
wild when I went from no
dude.
glasses to glasses, and realized how bad my vision had gotten when I put those
Right.
glasses on and everything got sharp. So like I can see fine. It's just everything the farther away starts getting
sharpness.
blurrier, and it's
Yeah.
like the sharpness.
Yeah.
And now like contacts, I'm weird about trying to
can't
put
touch
anything-
my eye. Never
well, not
could.
just that, but when I first started wearing glasses, the prescription was so weak. They said they don't make contacts that weak. They're like, you can't get contacts for your vision.
Yeah,
'cause
you got
it's-
readers or something
it's
like that.
barely that
yeah.
bad, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, maybe now it's bad enough, but I'm so used to just the glasses. But what does suck is like the activities that I do sometimes. So, like if I go play airsoft with my son, right?
Yep.
I got to put a mask on. Well, I can't wear my glasses under my mask. So, have I shot some of my teammates on accident before? Sure. And especially once it like fogs up, you know? Or like when I go,
the fog's up the worst. I knew
yeah,
about
or like
that
if I
for
go
years,
hunting and I
man.
forget to bring my glasses,
Dude.
like I have to look at everything through binoculars or something to make sure it is what it is before I try to shoot at it.
Sure.
You know, so like it has.
Oh shit! Yeah.
and
Don't kill a person
what's-
out there.
No.
Yeah. Don't Dick Cheney somebody, man.
It is wild to me that
Or maybe that was Rumsfeld.
It is so wild to me that anyone shoots another person on accidents
Oh,
in the
and you're
woods.
supposed to be orange, right?
It depends on the season.
Okay.
Right? So whenever it's gun season,
Yeah.
right? It's orange. So like right now it's currently small
So it's
game.
bows.
In Michigan right now
Oh.
it's currently small game season.
Okay.
So if you're out small game hunting, you're supposed to wear hunter orange.
Okay.
Right? During bow season, which starts October and runs basically you can bow hunt from October to the end of January, right? But then in the middle of that is gun season.
Okay.
So during bow season, you do not have to wear anything. You don't have to wear orange at all.
You can
right?
just be blending. You get caught by a bow though. That's pretty.
And then once gun comes in, then it's hunter orange again, right? So anytime you're hunting with a gun, you're supposed to have orange. Or anytime like there is.
Is it as opposed to, or you better have?
No, like it's a law.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
To wear hunter orange. But what just kills me is when I read these stories. Most times that these people are getting shot is like either they're not wearing any orange, and it's almost always with a gun. They're either not wearing orange or they're getting shot outside of legal shooting hours. So every well, at least in Michigan, right?
Sure.
There's, depending on the day, this is when you can shoot. It's
got to be during the sun.
This is when you got to stop shooting, right?
Dusk till dawn type
deal. It gets
deal.
into like the gray area of the gray light.
For the morning time?
The gray light, even at night too.
Okay.
It like gets into the gray light.
Okay.
But there's like a hard cutoff.
Yeah.
So technically, you're not.
Is it light bound or time bound?
Well, it's time bound in like the guide,
depending on the day,
right? But it should be up to the individual hunter's judgment too.
But
so
you
like,
have to trust
so like
every
basically
individual
this.
person.
Like if it tells me that today the cutoff is 8 p.m. and at 8 p.m. I can't see shit, I'm not shooting. Like if I can't see anything by 7:50, I'm not shooting.
Right?
Even though I can go to 8, I'm not shooting if I can't see.
Don't because of the law.
So these people are always shooting each other in the dark, or they're not wearing hunter orange. But even if you're not wearing hunter orange. I've killed bear, I've killed turkey, I've killed deer, right?
Where'd you kill a bear at?
In Canada. You saw the bear I showed you in my living room.
Oh, man.
That's
you
my
killed
bear.
that thing?
Yeah, that was the fucking scariest thing ever.
You stopped that poor thing's heart, you prick?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
It was a 9-year-old female. She lived her life.
Yeah, only 9 years?
Oh, yeah.
How long is an average bear's life?
I don't know, but... You know, depending on circumstances, like 9 is getting old.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
did the cubs? Did you?
There was no
send
cubs.
the cubs
There was
Social
no
Security?
cubs. No cubs. She was a dry female, so she didn't even have like.
She didn't drink.
She didn't have any. Yeah, she was in a dry state. She didn't go to the beer store in Canada. No, she had no. She had no. Her mammary glands.
Her mammary glands were okay. Well,
there was no milk
nice,
or anything.
That's nice.
But I also waited. So I watched that bear for a while before I pulled the trigger to make sure there wasn't any cubs. Because, sometimes these mother animals will come in and check.
That'd be fucked up.
Before they let their cubs come in or before like a mother deer might go in. Actually, around here, the mother deer let the baby deers be stupid and go. The mother will hide. And the babies will be out running around in the yard. It's like, you dumbasses.
Yeah.
The mother knows.
And if it doesn't die, then the mom goes. That's kind of fucked up.
It's weird. But, so like knowing what you're shooting at, like, I'm making sure what I'm shooting at. Like, if I catch movement, I'm getting my binoculars. I'm looking to see what that is.
You're stalking it almost for a little bit.
And if I can't tell what it is, I'm waiting until I can.
Yeah.
There's no way that I'm catching some kind of shape
Just
moving in the brush and I'm going to shoot at it. It's wild.
Do you think that's what's fucking happening?
Yeah, it is.
This guy's just trigger finger on some brush movement?
In Ohio... Last year,
hold on. Let's preface this. He said in Ohio. That's a different place.
In Ohio, or this year or last year, there was a dad that shot his son.
Oh, man.
And killed his son.
In Ohio. Okay.
It's
hard to talk back about when somebody's son died, but it's Ohio.
But it was towards the end of legal shooting light, and the son took off his hunter orange.
Lovely. So dad still just rapid fired at something that moved. And it was your kid.
And I don't get it. It's not that hard.
You didn't even confirm it was a deer then, or whatever you were hunting.
It would have been deer at that point.
So you didn't even confirm how many antlers it had.
It's not that
or whatever.
hard. Well, I mean, you can shoot a doe too, depending on what license you have. But it's not that hard to be like, oh, I see something moving. Let me look and see what it really is before I pull the trigger.
Killed him.
And killed his kid. Yeah, I mean, and his son was like 35. Like he shot like his adult son.
I know, but like, where did he had to catch him like up top somewhere too to kill him, right?
And that part, like, I don't know.
How do you not know it's not a human body?
I don't know. It's wild.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so wild.
That is nuts.
So
dude.
it's real concerning that there's people like that out there.
Oh my gosh.
It does make hunting kind of scary. I make sure I'm hunter orange the fuck up.
Right.
And
know who you're with.
I got a new backpack, and I got to get an orange flag for the outside of the backpack just in case someone doesn't see my orange hat, my orange vest. I need to have something on the backpack that's
who
orange
hunted with Elmer Fudd it,
yeah,
right? Elmer Fudd it up.
It need to be orange the fuck out. But it's
crazy,
is
isn't
concerning, and And I prefer to, during gun season, be up a tree because I have less worry about being shot if I'm up a tree.
God, you got to imagine if somebody shot up a tree and firing on an angle like that with some really dodos.
You shouldn't even be looking up at a tree.
Yeah, no.
You know, so, but it's just wild shit. And I don't even know
how
we got
everyone's hammered too, right? I mean, hammered.
Hopefully.
I know people that just go hunting that don't even, thank God, they don't fire their weapon. I don't know why this one guy, I know this guy just goes we're talking 15 years, never shot one thing. I don't think he's ever unloaded his weapon. He just, it's to spend time with his dad. That's what it is. He's up there with his dad.
And there's different reasons, right? Like so depending on how you hunt, right? You can have like deer camp, and some people just go because they
just
love deer camp. It's getting away with the boys. We're out here camping with the boys, sharing stories, whether or not they got anything at all. So it just really depends what each person gets out of it. I hunt with my uncle once in a while, but I also go out solo.
By yourself?
Yeah. Like I shot my first buck last year. I shot my doe by myself.
By yourself.
But like some of the spots that I go to, my uncle showed me. Like we have this ground blind.
Some generational stuff then too.
My uncle found this ground blind 30 years ago. It's built out of sticks in between two trees. And he's like, I was just searching this public land area. And then boom. I found this thing. I sat there. Big ass buck came, shot it, killed it. Was like, all right, I'm going to come. He's been going there like every year since.
Oh, okay. That's his spot. He makes
at least one attempt to go there. So he showed that area to me. So I also go there. I've had bucks walk right out in front of me. I shot my first doe there. I mean, I almost got a buck there last year, but I just couldn't get a clear shot. So like that is like our spot, right?
That's pretty cool.
So
the generational
it's kind of
stuff.
cool,
Yeah.
You know, but it's just for me, it's just being out in nature. Like even if you're not a hunter, I would suggest
take some mushrooms with you.
Yeah. One of the coolest experiences is just going out into the woods before it's light out. Right? Go out there in the pitch black dark and just sit there in quiet and just listen. And it's really cool to go from like the dead calm to as the sun starts coming up, and you can start to see slowly better and better, and then you start to hear everything kind of wake up. You start to hear the birds more and the insects more, and the squirrels start moving.
Some big time meditation stuff.
It is kind of like a meditational thing. And then what's crazy?
I bet your endorphins when you do that are just, and I don't even know if endorphins is the right chemical because again, I told you guys I don't have a medical degree, but I bet you what you're doing right there is so powerful for your psyche, your body.
It's so relaxing.
And I'm even just talking about it and the longevity of it, I bet you is just fantastic. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's fine. It's that's part of the conversation. I know. Right? There's a few things, right? So one, it's really relaxing, but the other part of it is hunting is really tiring because you're turning your senses up to 11 for everything.
Really?
You're trying to listen for everything. You're trying to see every little bit of movement. You're trying to smell everything because realistically, if you think about it, and if you spent any time on the woods, when there is a breeze, our noses are not as good as dogs or deer or anything,
so far
but you can catch those smells, and you can, depending on the way the wind's blowing, be like, that smells like a deer.
No shit.
There might be a deer in this area. I can tell you after shooting a black bear, they have an odor.
Really?
If I smelled a black bear ever again in my life, I'd be like, that's a fucking bear. We need to be aware.
No shit.
Even that sense of smell, even though it's not as strong as other animals, you
still
can
something.
Smell them, right? So you're sitting there relaxing, but all your senses are like up to 10, 11, right? Like you're trying to pay attention to the map.
That's pretty cool on that aspect of it.
So like it's weird to like spend all day not moving and be tired. It's really weird, but because it's that tiredness.
Nobody ever explained it to me from that side of things.
It's that tiredness from your trying to actively pay attention to everything at once.
Is rocking. You got everything.
And then
a lot of energy goes to that.
Then you see the animal that you're there for.
Then the release.
No.
Oh, no.
Then your adrenaline kicks in.
Well, that's what I mean.
And you're doing everything not to shake.
Okay.
You're doing everything not to make a noise.
Right.
When I saw that bear, there was two things that happened. One, I saw a bear, which was the whole reason I was there and all the money I spent for it.
Right.
So I was like, oh, shit, here comes a chance. And then two was, what if it fucking kills me?
Yeah.
So, like, there was, like, two things going on there.
Right.
A fear. And like legit, my heart was beating just so hard. I was afraid that the bear would hear my heartbeat and come climb the tree and try to kill me. And I was going to have to fight this bear.
Because that bear will climb.
Black bears can climb really good, right? So it's this really weird experience of all these different kinds of emotions in the dump. And it's funny, I used to make fun of my uncle all the time. He'd be like, yeah, I missed the shot at that deer. And I'd be like, how'd you miss? You practice all the time. He's like, I was shaking like a leaf. I was shaking like a leaf. And it does. Now that I've experienced that adrenaline dump, you are fucking like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And everything in you is wanting to like move, but you have to move so slowly to not scare these things, within reason, depending on how. Like Like my doe, I shot from about 10 feet away. It was that close to me. Like it was on top of me basically. Yeah. And I had to move so slowly. Yeah. I ruined a good shot on a buck 2 years ago because it was on a weird angle. Uh-huh. And for me to get lined up to be able to take the shot, I had to turn and also get off my seat and get like on my knees to get in a better position.
So you had to make a bunch of noise.
I had to make a bunch of movement, and my seat squeaked when I got off of it. It was like a metal squeak, and that deer looked at me and was gone.
That deer, I had no chance. Sucked. That deer, a squeak saved that thing's life. He's out there making babies.
I don't know how we got on all this stuff, so let's go back to real estate.
Were we in real estate? Is that damn tequila Don?
Right? So getting back into it. So what was that experience for you getting into real estate?
There was two questions, right? So getting into it, right?
What was your experience getting into it, and then what are those misconceptions people have about being a real estate?
So I chose the time. It's not like I was just like, when I was getting into it, I was like, okay, I was strategic about when I picked the time when we were going to leave, when we were going to get into it. And then I had things to do, right? We got to get the license. We got to get everything rounded up. We got to get pictures, headshots, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? So I start checking things off a list, right? And here's what we got to do. Here's the order we got to do it. Let's start doing it. So I started doing all this stuff. I remember come the first of the year, I still don't think I had any business yet. February might not have had any business yet, but March cracked something, right? Got some in March. And then it just started rolling. Like I had my network.
What was it like for you? Like, so what's the process? Like, what's the licensing, the testing? Like, what does all that look like?
So the licensing actually is just.
Is the test hard? Is it like?
So when I did my banking test, I was the king of 74s. 75 you pass, 74 you fail. So you can better believe when I went to take this test. Like, it's not like when I was taking tests before, I was still getting a paycheck, still I had all this other stuff. But my only focus was this test. I've never made my class. So in high school, you get voted for something, most likely to skip class. That's what I got, right? So I've never made flashcards, man. Right. I made flashcards for this. I took notes.
Oh, you were all out.
I had I was never letting my wife down.
Did you have like a cool 80s montage of all the studying stuff?
I would never do that. The collages.
Oh man, I'm heavily studying. Got some cool 80s music going on.
Oh, right.
Flashcards, studying so hard.
I didn't, but I should. Man. I will next time I do something like this. But my thing was, I married up. My wife has known me from Redford days to not, so she knows the full cycle. I was never letting this woman down. I'm not letting this woman down. I'm not going to fail no stupid little test, right?
Okay.
So I put a ton of effort into it. And I don't know the score I got. I just got to pass or fail, right?
You just pass. That's all you know.
That's it. So I go to take the test, pass it. Then I start marketing, right? And I knew I start you reach out to your personal circle. Hey, I'm fully licensed now. Let's have a conversation. Hey, here I am, blah, blah, blah.
Did at that point, did any of that feel like...
I hate it. Yeah. I hate it.
Like reaching out to your friends and family to be like, hey, I'm a licensed real estate agent now. If you're new.
Yeah, because people are so I'm doing trainings, right? This was a whole world of trainings. I got all these trainings to do. So that's what I'm doing to take up my time, right? Doing trainings and learning how to become a real estate agent, learning the ins and outs of it, doing trainings. They're all pushing, call your people, call your people, call your people. And to me, it's got to be authentic. I can't call you, yo, man, let me sell your house. And everyone is going to critique that. That's not how the call should be, but I don't care. That's the basis of the call.
Right.
It's not, I've got to have a different reason. 100%. It's got to be genuine. So, but everybody who knows me, and I'm thinking my people know me, right? So you need to be, and this is a downfall for me. I'm a great friend, huge great friend. I am such a good friend that sometimes I get pissy at my own other friends because, dude, it took you that long to call me back. You didn't see a missed call. You didn't try to help out in this situation. I'm automatically on your team. I am the guy that's pissed off that you hurt my boy. That's the last thing you're gonna do, right? Now you're dead, right? That's the guy I am.
Not
right?
really.
Not really. Yeah. I mean, depends. You know what I mean? No, just kidding. I don't think I got any charges fit or anything, but I am so my best man, John Siegel. What he said in my speech is like, Mike loves deep, and maybe that's because I lost my dad when I was young, and I got to hold on to these relationships or whatever it is. Or I got
it makes sense.
Try and prove that I'm so good, or I don't know, but I am a good friend. You call me. If I can do anything for you or have the ability, and the ability means if there's a will, there's a way, man. If you need something and there's a will to make it work, I'm a huge. You can figure it out. You guys, anybody can figure it out. So I don't even know where I was going with all this, but
it turned into calling friends.
Yeah.
Right?
So you got to be genuine, right? You got to have genuine conversations.
Well, because was it like. Because
I wasn't calling people like, dude, I need your business. Do you know anybody?
Because I can see it, like I get that, right? Like I would never want to be like, hey, so I just got into real estate. I'm a real estate agent now. Right. So like, if you want to sell your house, just let me know.
But they should already know. Oh, here's where I was going.
But was it like, hey, how's it going? Hey, blah 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 blah. And I just got a real estate agent license, and now I can sell houses.
If you
sound
you gotta
that, squeeze it in there.
Right. I don't think I didn't. I want to hope. I'm sure some went like that, but so I gotta hope it didn't. But I didn't call I wasn't blowing my core up.
Okay.
Because if you're doing your stuff right, then they know. They know, and
because they'd already have conversations with you,
right?
Or if you're frequently talking to them,
correct.
Like, what's going on, man? Oh, I got this going on with work. What are you doing, Mike? Oh, dude, I'm studying for these tests so I can get my real estate license.
They know, but the secondary ones. But which was tough on the secondary ones, a lot of secondary ones came from where? The Hut. So the Hut, it's like there's this different. Am I still working with Mike? Okay, so.
Yeah, that's always been a weird thing.
You know what? I do get a lot of business stuff from the Hut. I do a lot of team member stuff, which is tough though. Here's what I'll tell you.
Is it because they know you?
They do know me.
So it's still that personal relationship from when you were there.
And so I just closed on one the other day. It's third time with this guy.
Awesome.
And he can go to the Hut and get it for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, points off and everything. Yeah,
lower.
I went through
way lower
because of everything we own now. And I went through that. So I got all those discounts with the listing and the selling and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I will say with the selling is I did have a buddy of mine who went with the Hut. He also works at the Hut, and this is a friend that I know from the day. So it's not like we were friends there. And I bought his house with him. I told him, I was like, go ahead and use him. His agent was 48 states away. Only took calls during his hours, which is if you're 48 states away.
It's not a different
time zones.
Yeah, different time zones. Yep.
What type of people is that person also doing the hiring for so and so? So, although I can appreciate during COVID, it was order taker world. So sure, you could have somebody 48 states away just taking the order, but I'm telling you need somebody with the wherewithal, know what's going on, but this thing is with me all the time. Right. I answer all the time. If you don't because I genuinely care about the person. You know what I mean? I wish I could look at the paycheck more, be all about the paycheck, and I think, and this is gonna sound maybe haterish, but the guys that are pushing the paycheck, I've run into, and I've even trained with these guys. The guys that push the paycheck don't necessarily care about the why. And I know that's a general brush, and I know if this game...
There's always exceptions, right?
Sure, there's always exceptions, but I'm telling you don't, because you get into these tight situations, again, where my mouth should stay shut, and it doesn't. Like, well, I thought you were this type of guy. You know what I mean? But really, so here, I'll tell you what. We got this situation, and
just don't use names.
Nope, and we're not going to use any names except for Christian.
Okay.
And these people, they claim they're Christian. So I am buying a house from somebody, and the title of that house is a little clouded, right? And this person has gone down through some rough stretches. Okay? And I'm not going to hold them through anything. I don't care. I'm there to buy a house, and I'm there to help them and give them a fair value of the house. I'm actually giving them more than they thought they were going to get and more they've been offered, right?
Okay.
So now I'm going to close the title, and some guy pops up. He's got an interest to this house, right? Like, dude, you sold me this house, but you also sold to somebody else that you never finished the deal with. And he's like, So at the time, this person just lost their mom, and they went through a bad drug period, right?
Okay.
So the person, they didn't finish the deal, whatever the case may be. And truthfully, they never even had the authority and still don't have the authority to sell the house. Well, anybody can put any type of lien on anything, right? Like if you're a mechanic, you put a mechanic's lien or whatever the case is.
As long as you just go file the paperwork.
As long as you file the paperwork. Well, there is paperwork filed on this house now as a claim of interest, right? So I'm trying to close on this, and I'm having to jump through hoops with attorneys, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I'm still trying to make sure this guy gets paid. This guy gets a little bit of money, right? So find this claim of interest, figure out what this claim of interest is about, find out that he kind of had a purchase agreement on it with the guy or blah, blah, blah. This guy files it. I could talk to this guy. Well, the guy's willing to make a deal. Well, he's only willing to make a deal as if he confirms that my guy that I'm trying to pay a little bit of money to gets screwed.
Oh, God.
So if everybody I start talking to in the industry kind of knows this guy, great guy. Oh, he's a great family man. Oh, he's fantastic. Oh, we'll work with him. Okay, so even I'm going to just dial back because I still work with these people, right? Yeah. But I'm just showing this.
It gets real hard, doesn't it?
Does.
Like to self-censor and draw a line.
Especially with me, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, good Christian. Oh, he's such a, and I look at this guy's Facebook and I go to this and, oh, we're good Christian, this, blah, blah, blah. But the guy that just lost his mom, going through a tough time, fell bad on drugs, I'm not going to judge. You want to make sure now that he's on the other side, he gets screwed. And that's the problem. So that's this type of stuff I have a problem with. Well, you know what the biggest problem is in the industry, the guy who does really well is the guy in my position who doesn't care. Okay, screw him.
Right.
Let's screw him. How can we screw him? Let's get him out because now I get the house cheap.
Isn't that indicative of just like society as general?
It is. But
right?
then you look at the people. I know.
Right? The people that are doing the best are the ones that just screw everybody.
They'll screw you
right?
the most.
They'll do anything to get there.
And I hate to broad brush that because
there's obviously
there's exceptions,
but there's just too many that prove that rule.
I'm telling you. And if you look over time, and they never get in trouble, they never get fined. They become the largest person to do it in the state that you live in, and it's crazy. Right?
Allegedly. Right.
Allegedly. But you see karma become
legalese, right? To avoid any kind of.
But you see karma become karma's a thing, right? Karma's a thing. Look at those people's lives, I guess, and karma's a thing. All I know is like I try and tell me, and I will try and still to just control what you can control. What can you do to make a difference?
Right.
And is it a difference? And like sometimes me and my wife, we have a conversation. It's like we're going to go to this. And then I say, get off it real quick. Cause it's, no one ever wants to talk about religion, but I don't know if I needed a commandment to tell me not to kill anybody or tell me not to be bad, to mean to somebody.
I'm not religious,
but I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't know if I needed, I don't know if I needed something.
You needed a book to tell you to not be a shitty person?
Because I think on how I operate now, and as I'm not still in my teens, I'm not in my 20s, I'm getting a little older in life to where it's like a consistent thing, right? It's a trend.
Yeah.
I don't find any of those things
hard. Right.
And I find the exact opposite to where if I was to do it, now that's hard.
Because it's so against your character or what you feel inside. Right. It's so hard because you're like, oh shit, that's not me.
And I can't screw another person over. That's what it comes down to. I can't screw another person over.
I feel the same way too. Definitely on that same page. Like it's bewildering to me, to people that find it so easy to just treat people like shit. You
gotta wonder what happened to them.
And it's funny because I find myself in situations once in a while where like I have to consistently be like the voice of reason because other people get so emotional about situations where it's like the emotion overrides, right?
Yeah.
So like even it was funny, like I had this conversation with my son, and it's not totally that's what you're talking about, but trying to put things in perspective for him because he's still, right? He's 18. Yeah. He just turned 18 in June.
Baby, dude.
He's still learning these things. So like with what happened with his mom, and his mom stealing money from him, and he's like,
love it, dude.
he's like, oh, I wanna, if I see her, I wanna smack her. And I was like, but what's that gonna accomplish?
Shit.
You're kicking someone when they're down.
True.
What is it? She already probably feels shitty about herself, which is why she's turning
Staying
to the drugs
in that
too.
situation,
Right, in that situation, right? It's a vicious circle there. Like, I feel bad that I'm a shitty mom and I'm doing these drugs. Let me do drugs to try to escape it. Like, it's a vicious circle.
Are we on this side of the table or on this side of the table?
That side of the table.
This side of the table.
That side of the table.
That's fucked,
yeah,
dude.
I mean, just every side of the table, actually.
But it's made its way to once you get to that side of the table, yeah.
So, but it's so I told him, I was like,
his psyche, dude.
I go, what is it going to accomplish? Right. Is it even going to make you feel better? Because it might make you feel better in the moment, but are you going to feel better, like feel good about yourself when you actually stop and think about it? Because realistically, it accomplishes nothing, and you have to step away from those, hey, I want to fuck someone over, or hey, I'm pissed off that you did this to me, and look at the situation. What led them to them doing that stuff?
That's tough stuff to do.
And
man.
that it is. It really is.
Self stuff.
Right?
It's real tough.
But it is dealing with your own stuff to get to a point where you can look at things from that view.
Right.
And I'm by no means some
We're always working on it.
guru. Exactly.
We're always working on it.
Exactly.
And I'm no good at it either. I yell all the time.
Yeah.
My wife is the best thing for me. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't with her today, but I am what you're describing, right? Like, I would like to lash out irrationally all the time way back in the day. I'm like, those things suck growing up. Like a kid, like, how do you learn to shame? Well, I kind of figured it out on my own. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, all the girl conversations, I just figured it out on my own. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, in that position, right?
You know what
sure.
I mean? Like, in that position. So I was so angry at the world, dude. I was not happy at all. And to get to where I'm at now, I just it's
like you said, it can be wild. Like, how did I even get here?
How did I get here? I wasn't supposed to get here. Had teachers tell me I'd never be here. I mean, a ton of people, dude. Ton of freaking people. Like, you're going to be a loser. That's what you're going to amount to. This is all you're going to be. All because I didn't fit their algorithm. And truthfully, I think their algorithm's fucked for both fine people and not fine people.
And I'll tell you this, too. And because you were just saying it, and I'll say it to a degree too.
Yeah.
Right? Your wife was there and supported you.
Oh man.
But ultimately, where you got to is also part of like your thing.
I give you that, but if I didn't do it without her, though,
I think too many people look to give credit. Like, they don't. It's weird. Like, a lot of people seem to have like the self-hate thing, not necessarily like hate, but like the self-doubt, right?
Yeah.
Where like, I would have never achieved this without that person.
Right.
Sure. Like, this house and the things that I have and the life that I have, I might not have achieved without her.
Though.
But
I get what you're saying.
I also would have never achieved it without like myself in the drive, right?
Yeah.
So like, you can't like not give credit to yourself.
I
too.
appreciate that. I feel that.
Right.
But she's better than me. She's so much better.
I did.
I so won though. No. Like, I won.
And I feel the same way too.
Yeah.
Dot. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you get into real estate.
So I get into real estate.
You start reaching out to your personal network first.
Yeah. So they knew everything that was coming. So reach out to my personal network, and I actually got a couple of those years in life, and it being good too. So I end up. Nobody does anything fantastic without getting lucky too. So I'll appreciate my luck, right? I end up in a good place with some friends that are gonna sell their houses and move on with life.
I think that's a huge thing that gets overlooked.
Yeah.
And me and Megan have had that talk a lot of times, right? When you look at like self-starters, right? Entrepreneurs, this person's making it. How much does luck play in?
Sure.
Because like, the part that drives me crazy is when people are like, you just have to work hard enough. There is a shit ton of people working hard enough every day that never make it. And it's that lucky break. Were you in the right moment? Did you know the right people?
Take the right advantage.
Like I always used to look at, and don't sue me, Hove,
sure.
Jay-Z, right?
Oh, bang.
Jay-Z went from dealing drugs, right, to one of the richest rappers, musicians out there.
Sure.
Like, he's put himself in great positions to the point where like he has generational wealth now. But how much of that was from luck? Because just like him, there is a million other rappers on the streets trying to. They're all in on the music
Right.
business, trying to
Yep.
make it, and they never will.
Right.
Right? Because it
Maybe
isn't
one day
just,
they took a left when they should have took a right.
it is not
Yeah.
just hard work that gets you there.
No.
You have to realize that you could spend your
think
entire
sometimes hard
life
work-
working your ass off and never make it. There
Depending
is
on what you choose to be hard.
there is a factor of luck that I
For
feel
sure.
like in today's hustle culture mentality, people overlook. Because there's a lot of
Sometimes
people
the stars
working their
gotta
asses
line.
off.
Right. But I also just to be a little bit devil's advocate. You go work your ass off if somebody's only gonna pay you $40,000 a year and you ain't never gonna get shit.
No. For
And
sure.
You worked your ass off. But you didn't get taught the wherewithal to look back at that guy and be like, fuck you. How much money are you making doing the same shit? Maybe I can think outside the box.
Doing
a little.
less.
Yeah. Oh,
You're doing it for them.
I'm living that dream.
Yeah.
I'm living that dream. I get to provide better service at my standard of a level because I don't have to have somebody walking in my door. Because some of the team
Saying
members,
like, why'd you just do that?
well, some of my team members, listen, we're Detroit, right? Some of my team members come from the outskirts of Detroit. What
Yeah.
the frick do you think their life is like?
Oh, right,
What
yeah,
the hell
yeah.
type of shit do you think they're going through?
Yep.
So by the time that you think they will get to their door, what do you think they care? Like, when people are hurt, they're working just to get to happy, right?
Yeah.
So we're living in a freaking radius of that, right? So some of the times I would sit with I'm not even kidding. I've dealt with people's kids that got touched. Like, Mike, my kid got touched yesterday. Why do I have to talk about that? Because that takes something on my mental, but I wouldn't think about that. But I'm in a position to have a conversation with you. Let's sit down and talk and see. I'm here for you. If you want to cry on my shoulder, I don't care what it is. But so I got the people. So they're coming in, and I don't want to say that I don't mean to bring this on like it's a bad thing because things are going to happen, and I'm glad I was able to be there for them. But I've got to take now their psyche, help them get back, find a solution too, because I can't bullshit. Right? Did we call the cops? Do we got this? Do we got that? I've got to help find a solution because we can't bullshit it. But then I got to get them back to right. And then I got to get them back to kicking rear end and dialing in. Now who do I have to do that for? Just myself.
Right.
I just have to keep myself accountable.
That
and who
is
do you
tough,
think that
right?
opens it up for? Them?
As being a leader, right? That's tough.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I don't know if I'd ever go back into that responsibility again because it's a lot
They
to
don't tell you
manage
about
different
that stuff
personalities. The times that I've had people crying on my shoulder. We created a new team for a process, and in the training for that, someone was upset because this group of people had not received like a promotional, demotional criteria for years, was like brought up pay in the middle of the class, was asking the trainer, and it was like, we got to go outside and have this talk. But it's like, those are real issues when you step into that position of responsibility as a leader that you have to deal with, and it's tough. And I don't, like you said, like you're responsible for you now. You're responsible for you,
me and
your
my family.
right? But you don't have to manage all those personalities and expectations and how everyone takes feedback and this and that. And it's a
Sometimes
lot.
I'm just truthful with feedback. Hey, get your shit together.
Yeah,
Right.
And not everyone can take that.
Well, you
not
should.
everyone can take that
you
real.
Should,
It's
man.
weird.
Because I want to take it too. And I can't just dish it. And maybe sometimes I get pissy if you dish it to me, but dish it to me. If you care about me, what do you mean? Are you my boy? Are you my friend, girlfriend, whatever are you care about my person? Then you deliver that information to that friend.
And it's funny too, because like
you see it better from a third party.
I tell Megan, and now I'm like, having been on the other side, I can tell now when I'm being
a leader,
when I'm being leadered,
right?
Like when the verbiage changes and the way it's being presented, I'm like,
and then you know it's bullshit though, and you don't even care about the message then.
Yeah, because it's
you're
like,
gonna leader me?
Just
bullshit me?
Or it's just give me the message straight. Right? Just skip around the tiptoeing around it and just let's get to the middle of it, because we all got things to be doing. We all got time, and it's a wild thing.
I've got an amazing example of that. So I have a team member that she told me that she felt like I made her feel like she was back in the fields.
Wow,
this is an African-American team member.
Right, that's
and I'm
rough.
She says it to me over the phone. And obviously I'm sticking up for I can only talk for myself here, so it's not like you're hearing the third party. But I was only holding her accountable on the work that we were supposed to be doing, right? I was holding her accountable, and I was giving her, she was pretty much burying her own grave. And when she said that, I was just holding her accountable to her stuff. She said that, and I did not take it lightly. Well, if you're going to throw that, I called the IT. I need you to call this. I need you to pull this call clip up. I called my person.
Right.
It's like, hey, this team member just said that. We need to address this because we're talking Detroit people. We can't have that type of stuff here. You know what I mean? So I remember the IT team. I called them, hey, pull this, blah, blah. I remember they pulled me in the office to have a conversation about it. You know what they wanted me to do? One of the other colleagues that was just, so not really a colleague, a superior, just one level up. She goes, today you have to learn what a bullshit sandwich is.
Oh, the bullshit sandwich. Yeah.
So I was probably like 26, 27. And she's like, you got to learn what the bullshit sandwich is. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean, though? But like, let's talk about the situation, people. Like, did ITT get back with you with the phone call? Like, do we got the stuff? Like, do we got the data to show her, like, the work ain't there? Like, come on. She's like, no, we're not doing any of that anymore. You got to learn what the bullshit sandwich is. And I'm like, again, 20-something. Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, huh? No. She goes, all we need you to do is go back out there and pretty much say you're sorry to her and just smooth it over and move on. So what that meant, though, is go out there, lead her drop some shit, say some nonsense that makes her say, okay, which she doesn't really feel, right? It's bullshit.
It's all bullshit. And to be in both positions, it's insulting.
It is.
Right? It's really insulting. Because it's like, it feels like, you don't respect me enough to just have an open, honest conversation.
Yeah, right.
But then on the other hand, too, it's like,
we hired HR, so I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, it's so weird. And it's hard
you don't get to your end goal. Like, still, people, the end goal is what we're, like, the goals we're working at. We're trying to get to them. You just bullshit.
And it's funny because, like, when I would have people that are like, hey, I want to be a leader. I want to get into that position. And I'd be like, why do you want to? Is it so you can know shit?
You think I'm going to meetings all the time?
Yeah, I was like, is it so you can know shit because you're not going to know anything more than, like, now, barely ever?
Because I give it to you quick.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I was like, are you ready for dealing with other people's, their personalities and how they receive things? And, like, it's just such a wild thing to deal with. Now, being in your current...
Not just their personalities. So let me tell you some stuff. So I moved around in that company quite a bit as a leader. I became a leader of an areas that didn't keep up with the rest of the company.
Oh, me too.
I bought them shower heads for their shower. Wow. I bought them shampoo. I bought them gift boxes because they were going to get put on letter because other team members were telling them that they smell too much. I talked to them about their family.
Oh, that classic leader conversation.
Dude.
Practice. The team member that smells.
And like, you don't think you're ever, like, you hear it on the radio or something, but you don't.
Or you do it in practice in these little seminars and
you really have it,
you
but
really do it.
You have it for months.
Yeah.
And then it comes to a point like, well, the guy's living out of his van with his family. What are you going to do for him? Are you a leader? And then you start thinking back to the stuff that you believe. Yeah, is that the bullshit sandwich that they gave me to eat? Like,
yeah, it's rough.
It is.
It's real. It can be real rough.
Real rough.
And that's why, like,
especially if you care.
I don't know if I can get back into that situation. Like,
why would you? Like, unless you just purely want to give back, though, because the current,
and that's where I think it kind of beats you down, right? I think a lot of people get into it with the intent of, like, I'm gonna make people better, and I'm gonna help people be the most that they can be, and I'm gonna lead them by example.
Sure.
And then the bureaucracy shit shuts all that down.
Even though you're supposed to not have that.
We
don't have red tape here.
It's wild. Okay. Like when I got out of leadership, I ended up getting moved to an area where I made more than my directors.
Lovely.
And they brought that up all the time. Every one-on-one stuff. You make more than the directors do in our area, right? And I'm not a leader anymore. But then, like, it was funny. Like, at the last day, official day of being a leader, we were having a meeting about how this division of the business wanted to be the gold standard for all other business areas, right? We want to set the trend. Right. And it turned into this, like, hey, we're going to make all of our team members or all of our employees go through, they need to do X amount of trainings to make sure that they're better team members and they know this and know that. And I voiced, I was like, hey, when you force people to do it, it turns into just another checkbox item. I was like,
it doesn't get done well.
Right. And I was like, why don't you give them the options to make it more known that they have these options available. But I was like, what's so wrong with having an expert doer? What's so wrong with having the person that is happy to just do this forever and they're good at it? What's wrong with letting them do that? There's this really weird need, especially in that organization, of, hey, you're really good at this. We need to move you to something else now. And it's like then you move these really good people out that could help train the newer people, get newer people in, because there's constantly a cycle of people coming in and out. You lose all that. And I was like, why are you going to force people to do this? Why not encourage them to? And those that are happy here and they do a good job, they meet all your expectations, everything, just let them stay.
Let them be.
Let them be.
Why do you got to be going?
And those people that want more,
let
support them and help them do more.
Yeah.
And it was funny because someone pulled me aside after that meeting, because it was like one of my last meetings as a leader that day, and was like, I really appreciate how, even though you're not a leader starting tomorrow, that you're still acting as one now, because you could have just checked out.
Could have been done.
But it's just like my firm belief, like there's a sick, weird thing to push people to be more than they need to be or want to be sometimes. And
why
like
do you get to control me like that?
Right.
Why don't you just let me be happy? You don't know what my life's like.
Yeah, it was weird. And I've had team members like that I became a leader of, where they're like, I don't want to do anything else. I love this process. I like this. But I'm afraid they're going to make me move.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you need to make them people?
Hey, at that place, remember that place? There's only one thing that stays consistent, right?
It's change. Yep.
It's change.
So now this is what happens.
You just got to go back now 20 minutes.
We just go over everything.
So I think I can go back to your second. I answered the first question, right?
So what it was like for you getting into it, you started making those calls.
I started making the calls, right? Started getting with the people. And then again, like I said, I was lucky. I had a bunch of people leveling up in life.
You said you like kind of hung your hat with this group.
Yep.
Right.
I did hang my hat.
So is that like a common practice where, like, when you get into this world,
I don't think so.
You have to associate with a realty company?
Yeah, you have to, because the only way you can sell.
Is that what generates the leads? Or like, so could you just be like, yo, I'm going to be Mike Gervais, realty company
I'd have to be a broker.
myself.
I'd have to be a broker. The only way I can transfer and collect money on a real estate transaction in the state of Michigan is if I'm a broker, right? So is
that what, like, Century 21, all those companies, they are
EXP,
brokers?
Rocket Homes.
Right, so
it's all brokers, right? All those types of companies, right? Some brokers are better than others.
Your emphasis, hilarious. Right? So that is it. So you can't be a freelance real estate agent if you're not a broker. You can't just be like, yo, I'm selling
by myself. Right.
Okay.
You got to have somebody pretty much, let's say, check in rules and regulations.
And that's one of those things, right, that people that may be interested in getting into this world don't
know. Right. Yeah. Because what do you mean? Everybody just sees, so-and-so sold their house. And they sold it for how much? How much did you pay in commission? Oh, my God. And the realtor just got paid that? Oh, my God. It's just so fun and easy and everything's simple. And they just sold a house. And everybody sees it.
Work at your own pace. Yeah. You only got to work on the days that you want it. Yeah. And that's what I mean by like those misconceptions like that.
I'm here on a Sunday.
Of what people. Yeah.
They're
crazy. You're here on a Sunday, but this isn't work. We're just having fun drinking tequila.
Don't tell everybody we're drinking tequila.
I'll tell everyone. We're drinking Antil tequila.
Well, that is fair. Tell everybody that.
Don's been on here twice. Don was on
twice?
Here. He was on here when it was teak.
Look, went back to old school.
We'll come back in a moment.
Yeah.
But so Don was on here the first year that I started doing the show, the first season, right?
That's cool, though.
And what was cool about it was, one, is I got it from what he said. This was the first time on this show that he told the actual origin story of how it all happened.
Okay.
Because he said everyone that interviewed him, because he was already doing news appearances and all that shit by then, he said everyone always just wanted to ask him about where he was now.
Nobody wanted the story.
No one wanted the story.
The story's kind of cool.
So he was like, you get the story.
The exclusive.
I got this exclusive, right?
Yeah, Ferg.
Right? So that was what was cool. And then he came back on about a year later. Okay. So we got that like year gap of, hey, how have things changed? Too. Where are you at now? And at that point, he was
you got to do him again
on,
then, and keep
when he comes back to town.
Can we zoom it? Zoom it.
I train.
It's got to be real.
I like the real, right? I can't sit here and clink glasses and drink your tequila virtually, and it doesn't hit the same.
Oh, I'm there with you with the physics of it.
And the other part of it is like you said, right? Your personal standards.
Yeah.
Zoom doesn't live up to my standards. I have to count on you having a microphone that sounds good enough, and you know how to actually adjust that shit. But then I also have to worry about connectivity.
Yeah.
And I train, so as a trainer now, I train a lot of remote, and there's tons of problems.
All the time.
People lose. I gotta quit. I gotta turn my camera off. Hey,
I gotta reboot. 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't need any of that shit.
Gotta love that from Top Gun though. When the
I've,
general told him not to do it, he's like, I just let it be Top Gun back.
So that's why I like the in person.
Okay.
Right?
You get a better conversation with that all day too.
For sure, body language, everything. I can tell if I'm losing you, or if you're like.
Speaking to that, right? I used to love this, and I don't even know if this is right. 45% of communication is body language.
It is.
45% of communication is the damn tone. And the other 10 is the actual word itself.
Right. It's all in how it's being delivered.
Ain't that the truth?
And you lose a lot of that over a Zoom.
Without a doubt.
You lose the body language, or like both you and I are talking with our hands.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Right. So like you lose all of that. And I would love. I want to have Don and his wife on now.
Oh, Niana, she's the best too.
Because obviously, like the being
that would be cool too. Yeah.
Is it the second black owner of a liquor company?
No, sir.
Go ahead, clarify.
She is the number one owner. Well, I call her number one. She's the only black woman of a tequila company in the world.
Right. And I think the only black woman of a liquor company
is a whiskey company.
Right.
So there's only two.
So she's one of two. Yeah.
How cool is that, though? Good
right.
So not only that, she survived. I don't mean
a cancer survivor.
Two times. Pancreatic and.
Ooh, man, that's a bad one, too.
No, big time. And she talks about. So this is coming a plug for Niana. Niana, you better love me. No, I'm just kidding, but she does. So she just got a proclamation given to her from the city of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So all the things she's done for good. Go
so I would. So if they come back to Michigan, I was going to reach out to Don again and have him come in. So like all the Instagram posts he does.
Yep.
You ever notice those little wood burned Yep.
You do those?
I made those for him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How cool.
Yeah, I made those things because he wanted to be able to have like drinks that he was making, but not always have his bottle in, but have the logo.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I could make some.
Because you did this.
Yeah. Well, the very first time he came on my show, as a gift of him coming to my show, I made him a coaster.
Oh, how cool.
So then the second time you reached out, he's like, hey,
I have seen those. Are
he puts them in a lot of posts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that like something I made is making its way into all these things.
It's crazy how we're all connected, though, right? If you think about it, like how me and you used to have fun at work together with the videos. Now look what we're doing right now. So
exactly,
it's just nuts.
So and that was really cool, like that connection with Don, and that's why I was surprised. I didn't know because I knew of. Obviously him and his wife and Bro being involved and how that kind of like evolved. I never knew that you were a part of that too. And
I'm super close with so like even Nayana too, like the three of them, even my wife and Nayana, like we don't hang out every day or whatnot, but every time we get together, we always have a good time. And me, Ro, and Don, even another guy that's not in on it, but probably never mind. Lex. We were all really close. So I still talk to Ro to this day.
Man, I'll tell you what, like hearing Lex speak, that was someone
Lex could get you going.
That was someone that like I was always in awe of his communication skills.
Seriously.
Especially because he's younger than I am, and I always felt that he was older.
Yep.
And I was like, when I found out he was younger than me, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I found out he was a couple years older, I was like, all right, that was a goal for me to be like Lex. Don't edit that shit out. Don't let him hear that.
But it was so it was cool having Don on here. But
so Lex and Rose still work together though. They're
they're over in a different place.
Yeah.
A different hut.
A different hut. I would always love, so like I actually had an opportunity to go to that hut too with them, but I was doing my hut and I'm like, how can I give up?
I know someone that did that go to that hut and now they, during the whole downsizing.
Is that my homie?
No, it was a different person, Razine.
That was he's not there anymore.
No, he moved. He was let go of from that hut because of the whole downsizing.
Same here.
That's happened recently.
I got another person that was in my wedding. And I mean, I went to high school with him, good friends of mine. I brought him to the hut with me. He did that hut.
There's all kinds of huts.
Yeah. And then he went to the hut you're talking about. And then they just did the same thing on him, too.
Yeah, it's rough.
He's got 3 kids. But, I mean, he's bouncing.
Yeah.
He did fantastic with his investing. I don't feel bad for him all. He's a great.
Enjoy
your time at home.
I got another buddy, the same thing, right?
Enjoy your time at home.
He went to one of the other huts,
Mm-hmm.
but in the background, he buys investment properties around the hospitals in the city.
Oh, nice. Gives them to doctors.
Well,
doctor loans.
He goes, it's awesome because, one, they almost never are there, so they never mess up the property.
Yeah.
And they always pay on time.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's perfect. They never mess it up. And so
Those
he
houses,
got out. He just bought $100,000 boat.
Yeah.
This guy just texted me a month ago. Well, because I went and hung out on his boat, and he's like driving around with his shirt buttoned open.
Hold on. Is he like 4 foot something?
He's a shorter. Yeah, he's a shorter. He's not 4 foot. He's got.
Is that my man?
His name is Mark.
Oh, I was thinking Scope.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
But he.
Oh no, that's Racine.
Well.
Mark. Oh, Mark.
I'll tell you
Mark.
afterwards.
Yeah.
So he was always buying investment proproperties, and I asked him, I was like what's going on? Because I went and hung out.
With a K, right? Mark with a K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went out on the boat. He's riding around with like his button shirt like unbuttoned down to the middle.
Too, yeah.
I'm like, you're the fucking Miami Vice out here and shit.
Yeah.
You know, he sends me
Who's
a
he
text
working for nowadays?
Himself. These investment properties.
He's just
That's
doing
what he's chilling on
properties.
right now till he
He
gets
can
somewhere
find
else.
another
Right.
gig, yeah.
But he's got a house. He's got a.
Is that what it is? I know him. He knows me. Yeah. I just haven't heard the name of it.
Yeah. So he's got a house on one of the canals off of Lake St. Clair.
Oh, nice.
He's got a fucking crazy boat.
You know what? He worked
ramp.
hard for that too, because he worked
did.
hard to get up from where he was at. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Ah!
You're killing me here, guy.
Gosh.
Oh, what's the timestamp here? Oh, Lord.
I don't know, but
so many.
Look at how many hours
we're
we've
2
been
hours
talking
in.
for,
This
though.
goes. And we barely even got into your shit. We just keep going off on tangents.
Right.
Let's see.
So while you're editing things out, do you got one of those things you're gonna?
We can pause if you want.
Oh.
Mine is upstairs.
I would. Can I use the restroom then too?
Yeah. If you want to pause, we can pause.
Let's pause.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
Let me know.
Unpause. That's what it was. All right, that's going to be a weird transition. Let me write that timestamp down.
Are we going right now?
Yeah,
Are we
we're
on?
going
That's what I
right
mean.
now.
Okay, perfect. I'll make it easy. So the second thing, right? We were talking about agents getting into the game, right? Yeah.
We just had a whole other conversation and shit. And
I'm
he's
trying
like,
to help.
right now,
Yeah.
right in, we're rolling.
All right,
Oh my
so
God.
I think that the second part of that conversation was like, what's it like for agents getting into it now and things like that, or what am I seeing out there? So if you look at Michigan and you're a real estate agent,
Right.
if I'm going to ask you, what's the average number of transactions a Michigan real estate agent does a year? What do you think it is?
The minimum number or maximum? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Must have been what we just did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
My bad. What is the average?
The average.
The
Okay.
average number of
transactions
a real estate agent does in Michigan per year.
10.
That would be, I would at least have that or higher, but it's 3. Can you believe that? Right.
It does. So I said 10 just because, like,
yeah, right.
But 3 does seem realistic though too.
So 3. That just seems so small to me, right?
It
3.
does.
Like if I'm doing this, and that.
But that's the average. So you're
the
taking those people
average.
that do like none to 1, and then you got those people that are also balling. But
I
the
feel
average.
like, so from my perspective, what I see, and like, again, I was a young person when I got into this,
Right.
Late 20s, young. I like to think I was a young person, but, maybe let's just say a blind eye. 3, I'm like, how does anybody make a living? And how do you don't make a living? How do you do it well? How do you care
But isn't that
about
going to
it?
depend on like your average commission?
Well, even
I mean, that's the
yeah,
other part,
well,
right? Is the other idea is that like
So that-
real estate agents are making a sweet chunk of money off that house too.
Well, let's think about that, right? So let's just take a $100,000 deal just to be easy about it, right? 6% should be, if I'm selling a $100,000 house, 6% is what I'm going to sell it for. I'm going to take the 6%, divide in half, 3 and 3, 3 to the selling agent, 3 to the buying agent,
Okay.
right? So $3,000. So inside of that $3,000, you got taxes just like everybody else.
Okay.
Sure, let's say I do it a little differently because I got a good tax guy. So I still have something to pay though. So I got my
Right.
taxes. Let's say every month I got to be a part of a board, right? I have to be on this board. I don't even know what this board does for me, but
You
I'm
just
on
have to
this
be on
board,
it.
right? So I got those expenses. So to say it's like without taxation or without any other nonsense is silly. But so let's say that $3,000's chopped up. So are you really getting that much? I mean, are you selling $1 million, $3 million houses? Sure, if you are, then you're making a nice. But you're making $90,000 then.
Right.
You're making $90,000, which is,
but not everyone's in that market.
No one's in that market. Come on, those houses don't move fast. $1 million house wasn't moving in 30 days. Like,
because you're depending on someone with $1 million.
Yeah, it's a different market. It's different lending.
It's probably a different game. Just all in.
Without a doubt, it's different. So I'm thinking, right? Like, how can anybody be like? How can you even pay? For example, I have a bunch of stuff I pay for. Like, I have a client resource management, right? And I have a good one that talks to them, and it's got artificial technology, and I've got a website, and we've got a search engine that is way better than Zillow and Realtor because it's directly linked with the MLS and pulls the data at the end, right? Like, so how are these people doing that? They're not. They're not doing anything like that. How are they marketing for your home? Like, I got people that call on for sale by owners for me, expired listings by owners for me, trying to give me appointments. I got people
really just to be like, hey, I see you're for sale by owner.
Boom, and let my guy get in here and come.
Agent to list it and get it out there.
Let me get my guy in here. We're in here. We'll do way better than for you. We'll make you money. Blah blah blah. Or how about?
But not really. Blah blah blah.
Definitely not the same blah 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 as I used earlier.
Yeah,
just
different kind of blah blah blah. Just shortening down for time's sake.
Yeah, because we've been at this for a little bit now. I got a decent drive home. It's definitely not the same type of blah, blah, blah.
Car is definitely going to be telling you to take a break, right?
Yeah,
car is like, you need to wake up right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's what I was gonna say. I told my wife too. She was like, "Shut up, car." She did it. Hey, did I tell you about my wife? She replied. She was like, "Tell the car we know, okay." So I've got the artificial technology. I got people calling on for sale by owners and expireds. I've got people like if we list a house, right? We call all the neighbors in that area. Hey, we're listing a house in your area. Who do you want to move in? Because you want to control your neighborhood the best, right? Even let them know what's going on. Also, people are probably always interested. How much are you selling the house for? People are always nosy, right? So they want to know. We're calling all those houses. What else are you doing? We're getting flyers out on doors, right? Okay. Boom, laying flyers. None of this stuff is cheap. And if you're closing 3 deals a year, and I'm about to tell you why none of this is cheap and really upsets me, but if you're closing 3 deals a year, even if they're $300,000-$400,000 deal, you're getting $9,000, $10,000 each, which are okay, sure. You're not feeding yourself. You're not living well. Like, not at
3 a year.
No, you're not doing all that stuff.
Like if that was like once every 2 months, then that looks okay. That looks that's what, like, you know, in the 40 to 60K a year realm. If you're doing one every 2 months at that rate. But yeah, if you're only doing 3 a year, that's tough. That's rough.
And like, you know, does that person still? So like if you go into an inspection, right, and there's some stuff that comes up, if that person's doing 3 a year, maybe even it's 4, 5, 6, 7, right? If they're doing that amount,
so
do they have, you know,
so
I don't know. I'm not going to accuse anyone because that's wrong.
Right. But so then that brings it up to the question of like with the, you know, your cop, your bartender, you know, whoever else that's just like moonlighting on the side.
Yeah.
Is that maybe why? Like, is it that people aren't willing to do all that work?
I don't think they know about it either. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm not out here and to be honest, there's a whole market of people that are just, and I'm going to say some controversial stuff, stealing all these real estate agents' money. And the only reason it's stealing, I guess, is because I can do this I don't need to pay a coach $15,000 a year to tell me to get up in the morning and dial the freaking phone.
Right.
You know who tells me to get up in the morning? I got to feed my family.
Right.
I have to live this life. I like to ski. I play hockey. I like my truck. I don't ever want to go back to living how we used to live.
Right.
You know, like the Wolf of Wall Street, I've been a poor man. I've never been a rich man, but I've been a poor man. I never want to be poor again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't need these coaches to tell me to put these things in place. Plus, I have that background with that era I told you about in 2009, 2010. That wasn't easy, right? If you don't produce, you're not here. Yeah. If you don't produce, listen, I literally had a leader tell me, if you don't produce, what did he say? He's like, if my father wouldn't produce, I'd put him out. Said his father wouldn't produce. Listen, short story about this. I was dating this girl. She was taking care of her Alzheimer's grandma. Alzheimer's grandma got out of the house, was wandering, right? She calls me. It's middle of the day. Hey, can I come come help me real quick. Boom, I leave the office around noon, go help her. I'm back within 2-3 hours, right? It was a different county showed up, found the grandma by a market. She bought some apples. She was clean to it. It was cold out. It was like right around the same type of, maybe November-ish.
Okay.
It's cold out. She's just holding on to a fence. Cops brought her home. I show up back to work. I still probably worked till 8 or 9 o'clock that night. You know what that guy did? He brought me in an office with another person and scolded me for an hour, and asked me what I was going to do differently next time.
Because you were a good person.
Because I was a good person. Listen. I saw that guy at a bar a year later with that girl. He asked me if that old bitch died yet.
Wow.
Listen. That person makes over $1 million a year at that hut to this day. He is a site leader now.
Okay. That's wild.
That's who wins.
And that goes back to it, right? Like
That's
we were talking
wins.
about, like
that's who wins.
The
man.
people that are that cutthroat and can
That's
just
who wins.
that, and that's
He
what sucks.
asked me those words. Did that old bitch die yet?
And what sucks about that is the idea that, and again,
I wasn't even with this girl anymore.
You can be lucky,
Yes,
right? You
yeah.
can to make it, but the
Right.
idea that all it is just some hard work is going to get you there,
No, you're
it
gonna-
can get you to a comfortable
Right.
place, but like
Right.
to get to that level.
And then we were
Unfortunately,
talking about
it
that
seems like that's the case more than it isn't, right?
So I'm a huge like I try to get as much.
There's
Now,
some good people out there
without a
that
doubt,
have made it.
We're giving a broad brush here, and I want to
Yes.
take that back. But
Eat the rich, right? I'm kidding.
I'm gonna eat them
so
all the
kidding.
time. Yeah. But here's what we're saying right now though is, I lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. But I had a really good point. I had a really good one.
Well, thank you for sharing.
I do. I had a good one.
So other
Anyway.
misconceptions. So what else
It's
would
just
you
not.
think
You're
that
just not going to get in and make $1 million without putting in serious work. right?
without serious work?
Right.
And I think that's part of like maybe the allure of real estate when you don't think about all the extra work that goes
Yeah.
into it to actually marketing it and,
Well, how are you
and
going to get
standing
business?
out.
It's not
right?
like you just.
Is that it's like, oh, I only got to sell a couple houses a year and I'll probably be doing pretty good.
No, if you sell a couple houses, you're going to be poor.
And what does a real estate agent do anyway? But just like
Go ahead.
get the keys to houses or get the code to the house.
Ask my wife. I'm getting phone calls at 11 o'clock at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is a large transaction. It's huge deals
Yeah.
to people. They got their kids involved. They got them if it doesn't matter. It's a first-time home buyer, brand new house. Me and you, like we're talking about. Can you believe we'd ever own something like this? Like it's big deals to people.
Do you think if you wouldn't have gone all in the way that you have with paying for these extra services to help to manage all that and to the level that you want, do you think if you would have just went into this like part-time, like you had your regular job and this was your side thing, do you think that you would have been as successful at all with it?
I think only because my regular job was in the same world, sure.
Okay.
And I had super amount of flexibility, right? I
Right.
could always walk away, take a call. And I was in the world of, I was managing, I was the leader. You know what I mean? I could have made it work. But if let's say I was a brick, any of like those roles, a lot of those other roles, any roles that are labor hours intensive and require you to do repetitive stuff or be available, it's going to be tough, especially between the hours of night when business is. How are you going to call? Even I have an assistant that does a lot for us. Like we have an assistant that is a broker trained level, knows the law back and forth, and does a ton of work for me on the back end, but I still couldn't do something part-time, right? And the only reason I do all these things, right, all these assistant, artificial intelligences, I can do these, and I have been good at them, and I am, but let's equate each one of those things with an hourly position dollar amount, right? And if I am trying to be the one at the top of that hourly position dollar amount, then I can't be doing all the other things.
Right.
I need to spend all my time that's possible doing that top part. And that's how I'm trying to get the growth. So that's why we have all that stuff. But it's also, that's why my clients can reach out to anybody at any time and get some type of response. You can text me at any time, but if you were to try to get, you can go to our website, get a listing on a house, and okay, boom, Michael's going to do this at so-and-so time, and you'll have it. You'll get that type of information, and you get that, the amount of people I've seen use our search engine versus using Realtor or Zillow and being happier. Oh man, this house still for sale. Let's see it, Mike. Oh, actually it sold last week. You know what I mean?
It's frustrating, yeah.
It's super frustrating. That doesn't happen with our stuff. at all because we care about their process, how they go through it, how their emotions.
It does seem like it's interesting that you were bringing up those other sites, right? The big ones like Realtor and Zillow and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that like as when I thought about when we were looking for houses, right? And you see the same house listed across multiple sites.
Yeah.
Like how easy is that a realtor going into each of those sites, or
it's super simple.
or are those sites just pulling from the database?
They're catching it. So really, and so then you got to. So one of the things I say in my spiel, and when I say it in my spiel, I'm always like, I don't know how this is true, but it is. Your house is gonna be on like 16,000 websites.
Yeah. Wow.
People are gonna look at 3 that matter. Really, to be honest with you, I don't think any of them matter. I think Zillow don't matter. I don't think really, and the reason that is because we're talking about most people, right? Not the one-offs. But if I'm buying a house, I already have my ducks in a row. I've called my guy. I'm like, listen, we're going to buy a house. I need a pre-approval. I'm going to get you my docs. I want better than pre-approval. I want blah, blah, blah. Then I'm in their search group, right? I'm talk to a realtor. Like, for example, if you talk to me, then you have my search engine. Right. You're getting homes instantly as they pop up that fit your criteria instantly. As soon as that hits the MLS, fires off to you.
Really?
Right?
Okay, that's good.
Coming soon, active, fires off to you if it hits your criteria, right? If I'm on Zillow, and I just started on Zillow, okay, boom, man, that house is, let's say it was a COVID area, but all area is not going to be like COVID, but boom, that's it. Come on, Karen. It's interesting choice of name. Come on, Karen, we're going to get this house. No, you're not, because you're so far behind the boat. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, you don't have your pre-approval. You don't have your ducks in a row. You're not if there's 10 offers on this house, you're going to be the worst one because you just found some laxy-doodle agent, or you just called and got some bullshit pre-approval. You know what happens when I submit an offer? So if we're going into a situation like that and I submit an offer, this boggles my mind that I seem to be one of the only ones doing this, but if I submit an offer, you're getting a phone call from me right away. And then when we take that phone call, if you don't take that phone call and you get back to me, you're getting a text message, you're getting an email that has everything outlined. I mean, very clear on what the offer is, who's involved with it, where the lender is from, how to get a hold of them if you want. Then I'm giving you a call. If I get you on the phone, the lender I have, if you're with my preferred lender, I'm 3-waying my preferred lender into the phone call with us to have the conversation with you to boom, 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 right? I am putting my clients in the best position possible to be chosen for yes. Okay. Now, if that house goes for sale and you don't have any ducks in a row, do you think it's going to go like that?
No, especially not in the market that we just came out of, right? We were just that we're transitioning out of, because that market was nuts.
Right.
It was things were gone that day, like they were going
How
fast.
to win was tough.
It was wild when we sold. I think and I wanted to ask you about this too. So, our realtor, our listing agent.
He didn't mean to not use me, people, just letting you know.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Discounts, right?
For sure.
Through the Huts connections.
The Huts connections, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they listed it. We listed it with pictures I took because we had already started looking.
And needed to rock.
And we needed to go, right? Because us selling was a contingency for buying. So
which is tough.
It is tough, right? So
the reason you got that is because you're out here.
So we needed to show that this thing was listed and ready to go.
And you might have an offer on it or whatever, yeah.
So I talked to that person.
Took your iPhone pictures.
Got it listed with just my pictures.
Right.
We sold before the actual photographer even came out.
Nice.
Like, the photographer came out, we had already accepted an offer.
Right.
He was like, I still got to take these pictures.
I got to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
If I don't take pictures,
I get it.
Yeah, take your pictures, man. You should have been laying on the bed.
But what was it? What was interesting is she wanted to take the very first offer we got.
Yeah.
Which was a good offer.
Sure.
Right? I think it was like for like $10K, maybe more than we were asking.
What month did you sell?
We sold in March, April, May. Maybe May, June. In there.
Of 2020.
Well, we moved last year. So last summer is when we moved in. So
2021. Yep.
Okay,
I'm there.
May, June of last year. And it was funny because she wanted to take the very first deal. And I was like, we should probably wait, see if we get any more.
What day of the week was it?
I think we went on a Thursday was when it went up.
Okay.
And we got we got a couple showings, got an offer.
Yep.
And I was like, maybe we should just chill and
Wait
see.
the weekend.
And she was like,
Gotta
no.
wait the
she was
weekend.
like, no, we need to take this. We need to take this. And
Yeah.
I talked to our realtor, and I'm pretty sure this is what happened. I'm pretty sure the realtor delayed on purpose so we could get some more offers. Because like Megan was like, we're ready to take this offer.
Yeah. Oh,
she was
told
like,
him that.
and she was like, well, I'm working on getting all the paperwork to line and stuff.
Yeah.
And then conveniently, we got more showings in the meantime.
Right.
And then we got 2 more offers
Yeah.
in the waiting to get the paperwork in line.
There's no waiting. I got the paperwork.
So like to me, it felt like that.
Here's how an offer comes. Oh, hey, here's the offer. You know what I mean?
So
It's
to me,
quick,
it felt like that was the realtor delaying on purpose to
Good.
see what else we'd get.
But why not just tell you, hey, that's not a good move.
I don't know.
It's a crazy market.
So that's what I was wondering.
Let's wait the
like,
weekend.
Like from your perspective, is
want me to tell you what I
that
do?
a thing? And then would you just be like, yo, you should not take this off?
Yeah. So for example, I told everybody we sold Don's house, right?
Right.
First offer I got on Don's house was a cash offer. Don, again, I don't mean to put Don's business out, but he's such a busy man.
Yes.
They were going somewhere. They had to be gone.
Right.
Cash offer, no contingencies. Don's like, let's take it.
Right. Right.
I said,
Because it makes sense on paper.
Let's take it. We're closing 2 weeks. We're done. I mean, let's
Right.
move on. Don,
None of that.
I think I can do
approvals.
better.
Yeah.
I think I can do better. I think I can wear the brunt of all your headaches too, and that's what I want to give to all my. Go wherever you want. Whatever you need. I'll close you in a different state. You don't have to be anywhere. I don't care what you got going on. I'll take care of it, and that's what I did. I just sit back, let's chill, and we did, and it gave us $10K more. $10K.
Excellent.
$10K more, right? And I would like so in that example, I would have just told you like, hey, that's a bad move. You do it, and that's what I tell people all the time. You do whatever you want. I promise I'll do whatever you want me to do for you, because that's all I'm an agent for you, right? I do what you want me to do. I'm gonna tell you this is what I think we should do. Here's our options. Here's what I've seen work in the past. Here's what I've seen backfire. Here's what I've bounced this off other heads. You know what I mean? Here's what we've come up with. If you want me to go your route, I'll go it. But let's sit back and release, or just chill. And always, right? Always. No one, it's like that knee-jerk reaction is never the best reaction.
Well, our second offer was better.
Right.
I mean, it was $20,000 over appraisal guaranteed, up to a max of like $290,000. So, and we had our house listed at $270,000. So it was $20,000 over offering, guaranteed to be that if the house appraised
Plus
for
you
what
had
we
an
listed
offer,
it for.
though. Now your agent had room to work. Oh, you guys are interested? Well, guess what you got to be.
And this was the second offer, right? So like
exactly.
So you're saying the first offer was already
always
kind of
pimped.
like, okay.
The offer's gonna be pimped, right?
Yes.
Like, go use it.
So
You know what I
she
mean?
she was ready to jump on that first one because in her mind it was like, what if we don't sell? What if we don't sell? We're trying to do all this.
Well, would you don't lose? And I don't mean to cut you off. You don't lose that first. Is it gone within 4 minutes? Like they're not going anywhere.
But that was, I think, the fear.
That
right?
is,
that
right?
like, well, if I don't say yes right now, they could just go find another house and put a different offer in.
The agent. Well, that is all sure. That is always true. That is
so like
true.
this house when we talked to the agent when we were like, so this house
But that doesn't happen very.
they listed they had updated this one to like $3,000 or $2,000 or no $200 less than just to get it to be
They
like
just got the
price
flare
reduced,
again, yeah.
the little price reduced flag,
Follow right back up.
So that's what they on this one what they did, and when we got the inspection, I told you how the inspection was done by the previous guy that was going to buy it, and then he dropped out. And the realtor said, like, based on what she could tell, it looked like this was like a backup house in case the one that he wanted fell through. This was his second option, so he put an offer in on both.
Right.
And then he got the first house.
I didn't do that too much. I didn't do that as an agent. I didn't do it too. I would, if you wanted me to write multiple ones, I just.
So I mean, like, does that come down to like a money thing as far as like EMDs and stuff?
Well, you're not going to lose it because
money deposit.
Your inspection covers you.
Okay.
So you don't even have to see the house really. You could just I'm done, and yeah, you're covered. They're good. But
like, well, because is that something you would advise against?
I wouldn't do it because it's just to me it's like ethically bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't. I don't think anybody's gonna get in trouble for it. I mean, maybe the legal guys will smack me on the hand and say, "Yeah, this is an offense here." I never did it. I probably got to where with a couple people, I was like, "If you want me to, whatever." You know what I mean? But I'm always really truthful with agents. I'll tell them what's going on. But I would always I'm calling these agents, right? Nobody of mine is putting an offer in and oh, I hope I get it. Like, I know what these people have. Even if you're not telling me, like, even if the people are the most clammed up people not telling me, I'm calling them daily. Hey, where are we at? How's it looking? What do my people got to get to? What I am on them. So if you tell me you only offer this, hey, I doubt this offer is going to get accepted, but I'll put it through. And then like, I'm telling you, I doubt it. Or we might have a good chance on this. And don't get me wrong, there's been times where and I won't be like, hey, we're going to win, but we got a good chance here. We're 1 or 2, which means we could be 2. Don't give it, we could be 2. Yeah. And obviously we've been 2. But I've never been the second. Like I've never had a situation, and I do a good amount of transactions. Okay. I'm not your first day guy, but I'm not your millionaire either. But I do a good amount of transactions.
Okay. So compared to the average of 3, what would you say is your average?
I'm trying. I did
of transactions a year.
Over 20, under 30-ish. Yeah, okay. I'm probably living in the 25 range. Okay. I know like my. Yeah, what I do.
Now, what's the, when we said the average earlier, right? We didn't define whether that's between all realtors, full-time realtors, or part-time realtors.
I don't know if that's defined. Yeah, I don't think
because that would be interesting, to see then, like what you're saying, like from the business that you're at now, because you're all in, you offer these extra services, you're going this extra mile, where that places above the average of full-time realtors.
That's fair. That's fair. Because all the full-time, I would assume like the...
I'm not like to discredit or any of your numbers, because that's better than my numbers.
Yeah, no worries. No, they're not.
But you know what I mean? That'd be interesting to see because...
I bet you it's lackluster too. I bet you it drops off hard. I bet you 80% are half-time. Or, you know what I mean? I bet you 80% of the real... And then when you look at maybe like the top 20, maybe we get a better designation of... And then when you start looking at like you have big names... Those people just run teams of, some can be part-time, some can, you know what I mean? So how it really funnels up. So this guy I know one lady in particular who happens to look very nice on the Instagram. She doesn't even live in Michigan anymore.
Oh.
Doesn't live around here, but the way she gets her pyramid paid out, it looks like she does a ton of business here, but I mean, you probably would be under 10 deals last year, and I bet you she's $1 million a year type of person. Yeah, but the way I don't look as good on Instagram.
so you,
hater mode.
You bring up an interesting thing that we had talked about out in the driveway when you first showed up, but I want to revisit now, especially since you've already just transitioned to Instagram. What's the work that goes in behind the scenes that people don't consider, right? Because we were talking about the social media, and for both of us, like the same for me with the show. Like I hate I don't do this for the hey, look at me.
Correct.
Because realistically,
but you gotta do it.
But you have to.
You have to.
Like the conversations are interesting, and I want people to get a realistic, like this is what your journey was, and this is what it takes to pursue these things, because the dream is like just do what you if you work hard enough. This is, not enough shines the light on the actual journey to get there. Right, from being a entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, or the idea that we have to take all of the things that we love to do and turn them into money making schemes. Right. So like just at those things, like I have another person that's gonna come on and she hustles harder than probably most people, but it's taking a psychological toll. It's taking a toll on her family, right?
Always having to do it.
That doesn't get talked about enough either. So that was like the whole point of this. So it's never been about like me.
Yeah.
But I have to do me for advertising and getting out there.
Especially at the ground level when you're starting off.
I don't make anything. Right. This is my official 4th season, right?
Right.
And I don't make shit off this. I've had people cancel because I don't make shit. Was like, hey, you're a filmmaker and I want to talk to you. And they're, oh yeah, cool. And then it comes to the week of, so how much does this pay? Doesn't pay shit because I don't make shit. This is just to help you promote yourself and have an interesting conversation. Never mind. Don't pay. I'm not there. So
you got to love that guy though, right? Like, I guess if you get to a certain point and you get to be that person, then that's fair.
Then it might make sense, right?
Sure, but you got to always still you gotta love that.
Like I shoot my shot. Like I've reached
Yes,
out.
if you don't,
I've reached out to
listen to good
Eminem's
old Wayne
people. I've
Gretzky.
reached out to
Yeah,
Joe Rogan. I've
good.
emailed Joe Rogan just because he was playing in Detroit.
Why not?
And, why the fuck not? Because
you might want to live a little closer to where he's gonna be.
But he was gonna be in Detroit. I was like, hey,
yeah, I
if
mean,
you
live
got,
a little
if
closer.
you got time.
You got time.
I was in Sterling Heights at the time.
Oh, okay.
If you got a little time, I'm like a
Right.
20-minute drive.
Yeah.
You know, but
They never replied.
No.
Bastards.
I did.
They're gonna hear us now. Though.
I did get someone from a local radio show.
Good. Hey, it only takes one, dude.
Dave and Chuck the Freak.
No, yeah.
So Andy is one of the guys on the show. I reached out to him, but contractually,
I can't do
it. But he was like, dude, awesome.
totally would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was cool to get that
stay
personal
in it.
response.
Persistence is key, man.
Oh yeah,
Hell
for sure.
yeah.
You know, so there's this season is probably going to start turning heavily towards outdoor stuff because I went to a woods and water festival.
Nice.
And I got a lot of people's cards from like people in the hunting and fishing world,
Sure,
like people that make their own baits and people that made like a hunting seat and a stick specifically for duck hunting and a bunch of stuff like that. So the same kind of thing. Like I'm just interested in like how'd you come up with that?
A conversation.
It was funny because this one dude that makes the seat, and I'm in talks with him now to schedule something for the upcoming months. I asked him, I was like, hey, have you ever thought about like making it so, because it's a swamp seat, so it's made to stick in the ground in like muck, right? Where you're in water when you're duck hunting. So they have like specially designed seats. Like it's weird. Duck hunting, the worse the weather, the better the hunting. In duck, it's the wildest.
The best thing about duck hunting is watching, what's that show?
Duck Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty, yeah.
So anyway, he made the seat, and then even just in like the minute that we were talking together, I was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about like making it so he could stand on dry land too by flipping this other thing here?" And he's like, "I never thought about that.
Just did now, right? Did we just become best friends? Yup."
But you know, so it's cool just to see those stories, and like I like to go to like the craft fairs and stuff like that to see like, oh, you make something, dude. I went at the Renfen yesterday. I got cards.
You killed it.
This guy had this amazing sculpture art stuff. It was really weird and twisted and stuff. So, but
that's how you
Michigan,
get better
so
on
I
your
can
show
reach out,
too.
You know?
That's how you get everything better.
For sure.
Good, man.
But I hate the advertising part. Like the social media thing is the only my Instagram. The only Instagram I have is for the show. The only Twitter I have is for the show. You know how often I post on Twitter? The only time I post on Twitter is when a new episode posts, and that's because it's automatic. I don't even do that. I don't touch
that's
Twitter.
That's the best, the automatic stuff.
The first time I just tried to log into Twitter on this phone, it was like, are you sure you have a Twitter account? Like it's been so long. Instagram I post on because I also do woodworking and wood burning.
Okay, yep.
So I own another website, RonanEmber.com. If you I do custom tables.
Nice plug.
I've done cash counters, desks. I'm working on some
end
tables.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right. I do the wood burning. I meant like that.
Wood burning, like sweet.
Yeah. So like I do all these other things. Yeah. So I just broadcast it. I don't even have a separate Instagram for that. I just do it all under together. I'm like, look, guys, this is a Ronan Ember thing here. If you're wondering why it's not talking about the podcast, this is just talking about some wood.
Side hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me tell you something.
I'm living the life I'm trying to promote, like help people share.
I'm born in 1987, graduated 2005. I'm from the era that's got like Facebook and stuff.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
And that's like the old people shit.
I never had it until I became. I never once had a Facebook until I became a damn real estate agent. Never once had an Instagram. None of that. I was living good, people. But now I've got that nonsense, and I started off my Instagram stuff like, how do you do this? I take, what I'm trying to do is show people like. What it does is need to be all about you. It's because the people are going to buy you, right? They need to know Jason's cool, how lovable you are, how big teddy bear you are, and that's what it is. But it's going to be hard for you to be like, oh, check me out, I'm so low. And for me, Mike, everybody wants to know how much you care about them, how much you'll help them. But it's going to be hard for me to take a phone and do that with it. And it would be a lot easier for somebody else to be like, oh, hey, look at how cool this guy is.
It is really stupid because like with Instagram at least, as far as I know, because I haven't been able to figure it out, and I'm decently technology like literate. Yeah. You can't post from your website or from the Instagram site. You can only do it from your phone. So like it doesn't allow you to do posts.
You'd have a
which to that point is like I have to try to do all this kind of marketing stuff on my phone or create it on something, transfer it to my phone so I can post it.
Or you could transfer to computer. You could do it that way too. Transfer to take a picture and transfer to computer and do it on there.
But see, I've never been able to post, at least not before.
You
can post now? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it changed. I don't know. Or I could just not.
I've been doing it for a while.
Maybe I just smoked too much. I don't know.
That's okay. But I do post from my computer. on like, check out these marketing trends,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Like not the picture stuff. But then I used to always show like half myself in there. I had some of my dogs in there, but now it's like, it's probably not good. And I don't have that many followers because I've always been organic. People have been like, you'll pay me this much and y'all get you this much. I've never done that because I think it's not going to give me what I want.
Even with this, I get those messages
it's
like,
fake
oh, you should broadcast, you should promote it with this site. And I get that, but like, realistically, the most fulfilling thing for me would be if it organically grew that following. Right? Like, I've always wanted to open a food truck and just have people know about my food truck. My food truck is the food truck people whisper about. But they're like, yo, this shit's coming to town. You can't let anyone know because the line will be nuts. Like, that's the food truck I want, right?
That's a legit food
and I
truck.
want that food truck. It's never going to happen because I don't have the energy, dude. Come on.
I know the cook.
Everything
You
that goes
get the
into
food truck. I know the cook. His name's Joe Muzzy.
With everything that goes into getting one of those going, I don't have that energy anymore. Just like having another kid.
It's time heavy too.
It is. So
all these people want time heavy side hustles.
With this, that's what I'm thinking of too. Like that's it. Like if this never amounts to me making money, that wasn't the point of doing it. So if it did generate money,
mine has to generate money.
It's a different situation, right?
Right.
But like if this does generate money, cool. If it gets to the point that it can, cool. But if it doesn't, it's not going to stop it.
Sure.
Not
in this dedicated space.
As long as people don't, right?
That's sweet.
It'll be better eventually. Better.
Everything always gets.
There's still an echo, but even though when I listen
Rome
back,
wasn't built in a day, my friend.
Right. Yeah. I tell my son that
little by little.
What's funny is we have 2 cameras right now. I have a third camera behind you, but when I was setting it up today, I've never tested it yet, and it's not wide enough angled. So I either need to like move it up or something like that. This table's pretty wide.
It is, yeah.
I like so. Anyway, so the camera thing, I normally have 3 angles, and that's what takes so long to go between 3 angles.
Sure.
So this will take a little less time to edit.
Not for all my yapping. What are we on
A little
here?
less time to edit. We're at 2:38.
Nice.
With our 20-minute intermission or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's why I told my son, though, he wanted to get into streaming and all that shit, because that's like the new DJ or the new podcast, all that stuff. And he's like, oh, but I don't have the equipment. I was like, dude, I started out doing, when I was like, I want to start doing video because my first season's all audio. And I was like, I want to start doing video, right? I want to offer a better product.
Sure.
And plus, again, we talked about the amount of physicalness that plays into communication, right?
Yeah.
You're missing all that. You miss all that when you just listen to it. So I started with cell phones. I was recording with cell phones.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
If you go back and look at like my first one, it was 1 camera angle. It was from right there, and I was just looking here, and then I was fucking around with lighting. So like one looks like a fucking candlelight dinner. You can barely even see us. It's all romantic, and it's not. Like it was kind of goofy.
Glance over there, I feel like I'm in an FBI depth position.
It is weird. Like you forget about it, but that one I have it flipped so you can see that it's actually recording.
I don't mean to say it. I didn't say.
Tell me the truth.
What time? Yeah.
So it's wild, but it's an evolution, right? I started off with a phone. Then I moved up to 1 camera.
It's all
then it was a camera and a phone. Then it was 2 cameras and a phone.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at some of my other videos, it's hilarious. You have 3 angles for about an hour, and that's when the cell phone died or ran out of memory.
Right.
And then it's just 2 angles for the rest of the time. So like, but the point being is like you can start without it being optimal right away.
Which is, again, the little things. It's not a big lift, folks.
See how it all came back?
Yeah, right? It's the little things. If you're not going to do them, though, then you're going to sit there and you're going to be stuck. And you're going to be pissy. And you go down those excuses.
It's never going to happen. Like me saying a food truck's never going to happen is not me doubting that I can make it happen. It is me saying I don't have the energy to pursue that shit no more.
Yeah, I ain't doing it.
I don't got that work in me no more.
Not this one, right.
And it's
I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing something else with my passion. So you're not just a bum. You know what I mean?
It's wild how it gets to that point now where there's like some things that like when I was young I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, man, it'd be awesome.
I ain't doing it
but
now.
I also know how much work that is, and I'm like,
right.
Man, I don't know about that.
I'm still playing hockey twice a week on Fridays,
That's
awesome. I went home last week after just 1 game because my other team had a bye, and I was like, honey, I don't know. These kids are getting young.
Shit. Yeah. My uncle did the same thing.
They're flying, man. I'm going to just start fighting them so they can't just, go by
That's
me.
how my uncle, the millionaire delivery uncle, he He played hockey.
Okay.
And he might probably still play hockey.
Yeah.
Same thing. He's like, man, these kids be kicking our
Flying.
asses out there. Yeah.
Gosh.
You know, I think he was doing like an older league.
Beer league, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like over 30, and then there's 20-year-olds, and you're like, listen here, you little young Thundercat, you better get out of here. My hip can't take this.
So how's the
right now, how's things?
How's things, and how did the market, especially with everything going on, how crazy, because you got into realty before the market got nuts because of the lockdown and everything.
Yep.
So what was that all like, that transition there, and then that transition to where it's slowing down, rates are going up and stuff now, we're starting to see the, asking price are lower now instead of those guarantees above and shit. So how's that affected you? What's that been like?
So the first part of it, how do we transition into COVID? Let's say that area. I think everybody's gonna gather. Like I maybe ask for forgiveness than permission. So I didn't stop anything, right? Like I was doing FaceTime showings for everybody. I mean, I got deals done that week. I got closings done that week. We did closings. Okay, if I can come to the title company and I can have one person wait in their car and you come out and give them the documents, tell them where to sign, and then have another
So just
closer,
figured out a way.
You just figure it. I mean, I'm not come off of it. You know what I mean? We're not stopped. Like, we'll figure it out, right? Like, if it had been like the movie Breakout and people were dying, like where they're walking, like sure, but we were gonna figure it out, and we did figure it out, right?
Selling houses as zombies.
Dude, I was flipping them, bad boys. We were rocking through them, and I mean, I'm not even kidding. We were doing FaceTimes with this person, that. I mean, we were just going through it. I got to tell you, I think I was the exception here, because even in my brokerage, and we were at a different brokerage then, like, I hate to say it like this, but there's a lot of crying. You know what I mean? Mom. That's all we heard. Like, and I never, like, I don't go into the office. I'm not an office guy. I'm not for the office Olympics. Keep the award. I don't need it. You know what I mean? So like, I just would always watch from afar and just got a deal closing this week. If you go look at my
desk, I do have a line of trophies. Yeah, I don't really care.
You must come from the place that's office Olympics.
But there's a line of trophies. They were not Olympics though.
I bet you one day or later you guys got a big deal where you go downtown or something.
I have some. I have some other fancy medallions too.
Yes, I think I have some of the same ones. Yeah. I might have left them. So. I'm not like involved with any of that stuff. So, but I mean, I just kept deals going, kept things going. Well, who can I help? How can I help you? Right. Then we got normalized in there. We had our processes and blah, blah, blah. You dealt with whatever BS you had dealt with. Just keep moving. How we're transitioning out of it now. So you can hit with like two little things. Well, let's start with, okay, so we got the end of the season, right? Back to school has already happened. So normalcy, that's slowing things down.
That normal ebb and flow of the market. Yep.
Don't fight the Fed either, right? The Fed is a big fight right now. They're raising the rates. It is what it is. We see what it is. I mean, it's not jumping up to where it was 1990, early 90s, late 80s, right? But it's still higher than where it was in the last 90, 120 days.
And do you think that's like is that like an issue of like short-sightedness, because like it seems like we're always like, oh my God, it's so crazy high right now, and like forgetting that like
I think so.
it is, but it's not like that crazy. It's been crazier.
It's just a feel of it,
right? Is it because with like a short-term memory kind of thing,
Probably.
we're not thinking
we're
about
always short-term as individuals. Like, why would it screw up? I feel the same way. What the hell is that bullshit? I don't want to buy a house now. Actually, everyone buy a house now. We didn't talk about it. But like the psyche of it, I would feel it.
Do I need to record that timestamp?
No. Like I said, I stand true from what I said from the beginning. I'd look for a good arm though, because I wouldn't be paying for 30 years of security right now. Right. What are you paying for? Yeah. Why would you be when your closing costs are going to be like a part of that? Like the 30-year mortgage costs this much. Why? Because it's 30 years of security.
Right.
Well, do you need 30 years of security? I'm not sure we can probably know of a ton of folks that have paid off a 30-year mortgage. Could you imagine if you had a 30-year mortgage when Jimmy Carter was president? It was 17-18%, and then it dropped down to 10, and you don't refi? I mean, it's just such a horrible and there's probably a lot of people back then that did that. I could have made all that up, though. Like, I know Jimmy Carter's rates were around that, but I don't know if refi was even a thing then, or if you were able to refi, if that was a new product. Like, when, I don't know, somebody started in the 1990s. Again, I was born in 87. I know recent products, I guess. Okay. But I think that right now, if you price the house wrong, period, even in COVID, I know you don't price at the top of the market. I don't care if you got the top of the market product. And by top of the market product, you can't just have the best house in the nice neighborhood.
Right.
You got builder grade cabinets. You got builder grade carpet.
It makes all. You know what's funny is that you say that is because
me?
so when Mike walked into my house, he starts walking around looking at it, and he's like opening my fucking cabinets and drawers and stuff. He's like, "You got some nice cabinetry here, man.
Yeah.
Look at this granite. Did you do this? Did you add that?"
Right. Well, I mean, that's the stuff you gotta look at.
Funny. I was wondering. From your eye, right? It just never turns off.
Well, nothing.
Right?
No, it doesn't.
So you go to people's houses and you're silently judging them,
like,
or in your case, vocally judging them.
Yeah, probably vocally, like, "Hey, dude, I got that from Mike at Countertop in this neighborhood. How much did you say you paid over?"
Oh,
Dummy. No, just kidding. But things like that, okay, well, they're asking for the when we're gonna comp this house out, this would be the highest comp. They're asking, but they got from Mike at Countertops. They don't even match the bathrooms. They're like, you didn't even take the time. This shit, and I swear, sometimes I haven't been swearing, but I said shit profoundly there. You didn't even clean the freaking vents or the all your light bulbs aren't in. Like, dude, are you kidding me?
Wild
and you're
to me.
Asking top
wild
price.
to me when you see that. Like, even as a buyer, right? Even as a buyer going to someone's house and seeing, like,
why'd the agent let that happen?
And it's like, whoa, no one cleaned this shit
Why'd
up.
the agent let that happen?
Wild. Yeah. And then I think it's also just like with her being so clean all the time. Anyway, she was on top of that shit.
Well, you're gonna pay. If I'm gonna be again, I'm buying a house for $200,000, but okay, I'll pay you $250. Well, I'm not paying $250 for the one that's got the spider webs on the corners and the vents never been cleaned, and I can see all the dust from 1980 still on the circular or on the
I used to deliver and all that. Oh man, should read my book. All my delivery stories. Yeah, I wrote a book and published it on Amazon.
That's cool.
And, I think it's 40 stories, like delivery stories.
Okay.
I mean, I changed everyone's names, but it's 100% true. Like, from my memory, 100% true.
That's awesome. I should read that.
And it's some wild shit because that's the thing that I dealt with going into people's houses, Like, go into this one house. We were doing a dryer delivery.
Oh, I bet you guys saw some shit, man.
Go down in the basement, and there's like 100 years worth of cobwebs, it looked like. And it was all yellow from cigarette smoke.
Yes.
And it was all yellow. But when we were doing the dryer, there was like a fucking molar tooth just on the dryer. Like, it was just wild.
You can't make that up.
And the best is, like, their excuses. Like, "Oh, I forgot to vacuum this week," or "I forgot the dust this week." It was like, yo,
dust since 1983.
Yeah, this is like years worth of dust. Yeah.
But you don't want to make them feel bad, so whatever.
Right. So how has, because I'm curious, because
but hold on, let me keep on my thought. So again, I didn't price houses at the top of the line. Like, hey, what do you want to? Because again, what's our goal here? We want because I have a fiduciary responsibility to my listing people, right? I need to make you the most amount of money
that you can,
that I can, and personally, I want to do it for the least amount of headache. So what do I need to do? I need to get the most amount of people in this house that I can. I need to get the most amount of offers, right? If I get the most amount of people in this office, then I get the most amount of offers. Then I can take, because I don't not go to all those offers. Some agents don't tell you nothing, which is silly. I'm calling everybody. Hey, guess where your offer's at? Guess where yours offer's at? How's your client? How's this client? Finding everything out. Calling the lenders. How's this lender? How's that lender? How do you do? Oh, I've heard about this. How's your turn times? Do you have their bank statements and pay stubs already? Is it already fully underwritten? I mean, really making yourself a professional. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I hate when that happens.
That was the sale of all the air emptying out of the balloon of what was your thought.
That was
that was wild to see happen like that.
And you got it there on the FBI
it's on camera. On the FBI camera.
The FBI camera.
I should get a sticker and just put it as like FBI recording or
something. Right.
Because the fucking
so what was I like? So we were.
So you don't price the high.
Oh yeah, right. So you just price market value, right? So if you think you're going to get 225, why don't you price it for 200 and maybe end up at 250? And that's exactly what happened.
And that's interesting because that's what my wife's aunt did. Mm-hmm. They sold at the same time we did.
Yeah.
They listed for a lot under what they were hoping for.
I mean, not a lot because you don't want a bunch of trash, but
like a lot. Yeah. They had a bunch of offers before it actually officially listed because it was like a coming soon and all that shit.
Yeah.
But then the day of the first day it was for sale, her neighbor took a picture of a line down the block of people waiting to look at this house. And now this was in Northern Warren at like 14 Mile
nice
and
Warren area,
like Dodge Parkish area, in-ground pool.
Yep.
Everything had been basically redone in this house. Like it was nice for the area, and they were almost paid off. So it was lovely. Anything was, but so they for shits and giggles, let's say they priced it at like 220.
Yeah.
They were hoping to sell it for like 270, I think, and they ended up getting even more.
Yeah.
Basically, the realtor was like, let's do it low and
That's
just
what I do.
watch the war.
That's what I do.
The war
And
of
I help
offers.
the war. I start the fire.
Watch the war of offers happen,
Yep.
and we're gonna get what we want or
Correct.
even more, and they did.
Because you don't want to single everybody out. Like, in some cases, in unique situations, you need the right buyer to get your price. And at that point, you need to put the price collectively where it's at and wait for it. Wait is the key word there. Wait for it to come along.
Is everyone? Do you find there being an issue with people being too impulsive and like we got to jump on the first thing?
Everybody's got these offers. I get my offers on 50 million over. Blah blah. Yeah, in this day and age, yeah. But if you have, let's say I'm downtown area and I'm maybe no basement, maybe I'm 1-car garage, and let's say I'm less than 1,000 square feet, but everything is super nice. Is that going to be for a family who's mostly paying this money? No. Is it going to be for a single person, but it's really expensive, so probably not? Who's that going to be for? That's going to be for your person, couple downsizing, or a single senior person on their own. And you need to stay at your price, and you need to know what you have, and you need to wait for it to come along. But you have to have the wherewithal to know all that and to be foreshadowed. Because if I don't foreshadow you're going into hell, then you're gonna.
Right.
And hell is a strong word.
So where does that knowledge come from? Is that just from experience,
Gotta
or
be
is
the experience?
or is there
nobody taught that?
Is there like databases and numbers available to the realtor community at whole?
Well, you just know it's your product. I mean, you gotta know what you're selling, right?
Okay.
But are you gonna know that when you're hey, I was giving you Jaeger bombs yesterday, but today we're God, and I feel like I've gone too hard at bartenders. So let's pick
you have.
You know the server.
They already have it bad enough.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just they sent me home so many times. I didn't know my name. You know what I mean? I'm blaming
I'm
them.
so sorry about the
yeah.
chairs. How's that pad? By the way, is it more comfortable than not?
It's probably definitely more comfortable. But you just gotta keep turning it.
Yeah. Okay. Because it gets flat.
Fresh cheeks. Fresh cheeks.
So well, I mean, if you're only listening, but I'm
just
currently using metal chairs, like folding chairs, because
WWE chairs.
With the upgrade in home and stuff, some of my equipment was falling apart, so I'm waiting to get better chairs eventually. I also feel like we're sitting too low, but it's...
Yeah, I've been trying to, and again, I feel like I've been having this good posture, and they're going to catch me on the FBI camera.
They're like slouching and shit.
They're going to be like, well, look at this nerd over there with his posture.
So how is technology changed
it's crazy.
the way it works for you? And like, so a personal experience, right? When we were selling our house, we had it on the market so fast because we had found a place and made an offer before we were technically for sale.
Sure.
We had started the conversations, but we didn't have it listed yet, right? So we were like, hey, agent, we just
go up now.
We just put an offer in. We need this thing like tomorrow. It needs to be on the internet.
Right.
And so they were like, oh, we'll send you a lockbox, all this stuff. So the key, but we had already started having showings before the lockbox even showed up, even though it was like overnighted. Yeah. But we had a Ring doorbell.
Nice.
And this is kind of, I don't know how this is going to be looked at. We also had an interior security camera because we couldn't trust my son for shit. Yeah. Right. So we had a camera to watch him.
I think you're just supposed to notify people are going to be.
I mean, it's very blatantly up in the corner.
Right.
But I don't know.
Just don't listen to it. That's my tip for people. When people are in your house, just don't listen to it.
Okay, so...
but they're still going to listen to it.
It was very interesting. So one of the ways like the Ring thing helped actually was because I didn't have a lock, what we would do for the showings is we would just take me and the kids and the dogs and we'd go to my in-laws that were only, at the time, a half mile away. Okay. Right? So we'd go there. And then what would happen is my Ring doorbell would go off because there was no lockbox, but they were there for a showing, and I'd be like, "Go ahead, door's unlocked."
That's awesome. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, though,
dude,
right?
And I managed almost every showing that way. Yeah. And it'd be funny because it'd be like, "Ding dong," and then it'd ring on my phone and shit, and you'd hear them like, "I don't know if anyone's home. There's no lockbox," and then I'd be like, "Go ahead, it's unlocked. I'm watching you."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
So the interior camera. What was funny is, her and I debated about certain things on whether they would be pluses or minuses for selling the home.
Okay.
And
so that came some truth to it.
So it was kind of cool. I wouldn't do it while they were in the house. That was too creepy.
Yeah.
Right. But I would review the footage after for a couple things. Are we expecting an offer?
Yeah.
Right. Are these people talking about like, yeah, I like this. I want this house. Right. And again, it was only one camera in one corner of the house. So like it could see all the entranceways.
You wouldn't have known for me though, because I call it out. I'm like, hey, check that camera out over there. They're going to be listening.
Some people looked at it. They're like, oh, there's cameras.
Yeah.
But no one ever said like, hey. And
no, they're not.
And because it was mounted and everything, we left the camera.
Yeah.
Like you have everything you can,
camera, right.
you know, because if it's mounted to the wall, leave it.
Oh yeah, it's actually, there's a weird word, chattel.
Chattel, yep, chattel. Such a weird.
That's one of the things I learned that I never used.
Chattel.
Yeah.
Chattel. But it was, you know, it was helpful because it was like, all right, are we expecting an offer?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You know, oh, they didn't hate it. But then it was funny because it kind of settled those arguments we were having, like the friendly competitions.
Yeah.
You know, so in the old house, there was this, they had nice wood grain cabinets, but they were like, they were surface cabinets.
Sure.
So there was like a Formica basically on them.
Yep.
And they were wood grain, all looked nice. And the one above the stove was a built-in fan and light.
Yep.
But it was too low, and it was actually wouldn't nowadays be considered code. How close it was to the stovetop.
Yeah.
And she wanted an over-the-range microwave. And getting an over-the-range microwave meant ripping that whole thing out because it was so low. If I would have taken the fan part off and put a microwave there, I mean, the microwave
You just use a microwave fan. Yeah.
the microwave would have been touching the top of the stove.
Like, is that close?
It was that low, yeah. So we ripped that out, and these cabinets are all wood grain, like brown, right? So we get a new white cabinet, and I'm like, are you sure white? And she's like, yeah, it'll pop, it'll look fine. Are you sure? I'm like, okay.
I always listen to the wife, man.
So white, but the cabinets, like for the space, the cabinet, no, it was fine. The cabinet part was fine. It was when we put the microwave up, there was a decent amount of gap on both sides.
Okay.
Because I didn't have
that popped like a
because I didn't have a filler.
Then, huh?
Well, I mean, I put up a backsplash that matched the rest of the backsplash anyway. So like, so it looked decent, but it was like this cabinet and then a microwave, and the microwave was kind of floating out in space a little bit directly above the stove.
For sure.
Because the stove where that cabinet ended, there was like a filler for the countertop that pushed the stove over a little bit. So it was an interesting situation.
Nice.
And I was like, I don't know, people are gonna hate that white cabinet.
Well, what
she was like, she's like, no, it's gonna be. And it was funny just to hear like, why would they do that? This cabinet like microwave. And one realtor called it. One realtor was like, well, maybe they had an odd cabinet there, and they wanted to put a microwave there, so. She goes, at least they did a white cabinet.
Right. Okay.
You know, like at least it like is neutral and nothing crazy. So I was like, all right, you.
Is that the guy that bought the house too? Damn.
I was like, you kind of win that one, but then all the colors of the house are like earth tones.
Okay.
And like
browns
but like browns and tans and greens and stuff. But it made the house darker because like our wood floors were beautiful, but they were darker wood too.
Okay.
And like one couple walked in, they were like, why would you paint this place so dark?
That'd have been my
What
wife.
is going on? Like, you know, and that was just what she was. I didn't care.
Sure.
When she met me, like everything was white.
Right.
Like, I didn't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, so she's the one that wants the color. So it was interesting just to see those back and forth things that we had debated, and then like what people would say about the pool.
You're white here. It's light colors here.
So she totally transitioned. Yeah. She's like, I want bright. I want open and bright.
Everybody wants
She's
it,
like, with these windows, you've seen how many windows I got everywhere.
Yep.
I want it all open, all bright. So it's all a paper white. Perfect. Everything. And even this, because we had the extra paint, I finished drywalling it. Just, you know, so it was just interesting to see. It was cool to have that insight to see. Like one lady was like, you know what they say about pools? You get what you get and you don't throw a fit and stuff like that. You know, like
I never heard that.
So it was interesting to see just kind of everyone's reactions and stuff. It was pretty neat. It did feel a little weird. Yeah. You know, because I didn't want to feel like I was creeping on people, and I didn't do it in real time. I don't know if that makes it any better or not.
Yeah.
But you know,
that's what I thought when you said it.
But it was my house. But it was my house. You know? So, but it was funny. So how is that impacted? Like, I know they have like the scheduling app and stuff now. We use that.
Yeah. So we've always
used. How has that all affected your business or I don't think clients, the experience?
That's always staying true the whole time I've been in it, right? We've always had a scheduling app. Okay. There's always been this thing called Showing Time. I've been, you know, it was years since the last house, and the scheduling app wasn't around then. No, it must have been tough then too. That must have been not fun. But it makes it really easy. It makes it super easy for the homeowner too. Yes, no. Some of the technology, I mean, when I mean yes or no too, is like say somebody wants to view your house. their agent is going to, and I can have it set up like this, is where they'll just send a request and the request will come through to your phone and you hit a Y for okay, cool, or you hit a no. And I put parameters around it. Do you don't want any showings on Sunday? Perfect. Nobody's going to request a showing on Sunday. Not any hours outside of so-and-so? Perfect. Nobody's going to request hours outside of so-and-so. Also, for a little bit for a little bit more safe, lock boxes. I use these Sentry lock boxes, right? Which a realtor has to use their face from their phone to get into it. Yeah. So I can tell which realtor is getting into it, the time they're getting into it, and at the property it's at, right?
Okay.
So I don't even use those little nonsense. You got to love it when I see the gym lockers out there. You got to love it. Like, it's here's a little tangent. You got to love it. Like, again, like 6%, $100,000, divided $3,000 on $100,000. You can't find some decent money, get some lock boxes for people? People are putting gym lockers out there. You got to go 3 times this way. You got to be kidding me. You're putting gym lockers on people's houses. Like,
I haven't dealt with one of these for 20 years.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing?
Do you start going left first or right first? And how many back and forth?
That's
how many spins to clear it?
I've always been good on them because I was in gym class just like 10, 15 years ago. But still, I just, come on. And like some of the boards you're with, they give a couple of them for free. Go get these nice, cool ones. You put them on your people's houses. It's so much more secure. You look more professional. And it's just a better product. But, I mean, that's what I mean. Some of these people, I just don't understand how you can have an agent and you submit an offer and you don't even call the agent. Did you get the offer? Like, how do you don't do something that basic? Did you not hope they want to take your offer? Sweet talk them. Like, it's psyche. You know what I mean? Like, does Jason want to work with Mike? Or when Mike, he's like, oh, I called him to see if his offer was legit. And he came off like an asshole. We're probably going to have a hard time with this guy. Let's not work with him. Like, how is it going to be?
So have you had that happen?
Without a doubt.
Like that experience of like being on the side of the agent that received the offer or as the agent that gave an offer and had an unresponsive listing agent?
Oh, all the time. All the time. I mean, so where I came from in the previous life, communication, like you'd be walked out the door if you don't respond in 24 hours.
Right.
So I was, dude,
I'm
do
you feel like that has really made an impact on you?
Yeah, because I'm out here in this world with all these other fields and they suck. And I'm not even going to be nice about it. These people suck. And I don't understand how you, again, take decent amounts of money from people and you suck. Like, answer the phone, call them back, get back to people, give good responses, foreshadow your hey, I don't have the answer about this right now, but boom, I'm going to get it for you in so-and-so time. I can't get this answer right now, but I know I can get it from so-and-so, and I'll get it back from you. Like,
it is wild.
Oh, it's just
once you learn to expect that level, that when you don't receive that from outside of that environment, it shapes like your experience. It's like, whoa.
But who would expect not to be answered that quick?
You know but I think though, right? As society, we get conditioned to waiting and just it is.
I'm not.
Clearly not, obviously. But I think the mass amount of the population because it's a standard so much everywhere else.
You're taught it. You're taught it
because everywhere else that isn't the exception of being fast.
Right.
And
everything's got to be fast, but. There's right and wrong though. Like, what were you doing? Like, are you not keeping your? It comes down to what are you doing for your people? You're not keeping them informed. You're not keeping them informed. Why wouldn't you want somebody to know who has serious? Okay, I just submitted an offer for somebody, right? Do you not think they're sitting on the edge of their chair waiting at home? If it's a Friday and they want to wait all weekend, I better have that information to give back to my buyer, dude. It's going to be all weekend. I'm going to be here with you. We'll call each other every day, but we're not going to have an answer till Monday. Or do I just let that guy hang out? And maybe that guy on Saturday gets a little squirrely and let's just dial Mike up, because and then guess what? Mike doesn't answer, right? Yeah. So now their anxiety is even more. I'm telling you, dude, I answer if I can. And if I don't answer, I call back because sometimes just, hey, how you doing? Oh, how's your day? Hey, I haven't heard anything back yet, and I'm on it. Trust me, I'm on top of it, blah, blah. Or the first phone call. Hey, I want to catch you before you went out for the day. How's your day going? What you got up for it? Here's what I'm doing for you. How do you not do that but again, it goes back to it probably goes back to my mom and my family and being brought up in the morals and things and not needing a book to tell me to be a good person to another person, right? I know you're waiting. I know this is huge.
Well, this is what you would like, right? Like this is how you would want to be treated.
Fair enough, yeah.
Right? Like this is, if you were in the opposite.
Other person, you know what I mean? Again, single mom, dad died at young. took a village for me to get where I'm at, right? You know what I mean? I'd have grandma and grandpa involved, aunts, neighbors, and I wasn't, I'm sure I did rebel. I wasn't the nicest, at 12, what is that?
Prepubescent?
Whatever it is. I skipped a lot of school, I said. But, it takes
Don't need
a
to know
village.
biology
So I'm trying
houses.
yeah, right. But I think I did pass bio pretty well. I remember that as freshman year. I went to those classes. I got to be there.
Went to those classes,
I went to those classes, yeah. Biology was required freshman year, yeah. But I mean, how do you need to be told that stuff? And you'll come across it, dude. You'll come across it. You just see people that just don't care, don't answer the phone. I love the people I can tell that sneak out of their office to take the phone call. You can't answer this call in front of your coworkers, so you got to sneak out. I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you after 5 o'clock today, okay? All right, when the title companies are clear and we can't close now until next week because this day was wasted because of you. Okay, perfect. Do you know how many times I just do their job? Do you know how many times I just do the other side's job?
And how do you go about doing that?
I just start taking over, calling people, because
once you have the rudimentary information, you know who their title companies and stuff like that. You're just
there's people that care. Oh, this is your stuff. I don't care who's to blame, how to blame. What we got. I got a client. We got to get to the end of this road. This is how we're gonna get there, right? And then I'm gonna go about it. I'll call. I'm telling you, are you the listing agent or the selling agent? Why we usually aren't talking to you? Well, you are now. How are we going to get to where we need you to get to? It's just crazy. And then you got people that again, for example, you got agents that don't know what needs to happen. A lot of big cities don't need, and let's say more, I find it more prevalent and when bigger ticket prices are for the home. So Northville versus Dearborn Heights, right? Dearborn Heights needs a city inspection to transfer the certification of occupancy on the close of the home. Northville, probably don't need that unless you're building you don't need that unless you're building a brand new house. You need the certification of inspection, but you don't need it on the sale of a house from owner to owner, right? So I got somebody that lists a house, right? They list a house. Well, if that person doesn't know they need to do that, they're never going to tell that homeowner, hey, we got to go get this inspection. And then what happens when the city comes in and you need that. It
causes delays and
huge delays, money, problems, issues. I'm dealing with it right now in Lincoln Park. And I mean, I'll just jump in and, okay, hey, did you get this done? Okay, let's get it ordered. I mean, it's just when they don't know they need to do these things, it's just you got to be. And you're getting 6%.
And again, is that from that
experience?
That and that group of people that are just moonlighting, right? That it's the part-time thing.
Right, because there's no. Your broker doesn't tell you this stuff.
If you're part-time too, how much time are you really dedicating to mastering that craft and learning the ins and outs of that in the areas that you're servicing?
None of this is W-2, people, right? So your broker,
your time is your money.
Your time is your money. Your broker isn't, hey, here, Susie or Ken, come up here and make sure you get your training this day. No, it's all self. You know what I mean? Oh, if I don't go to work today, I don't get paid. Well, if I don't do it, and when I say I don't go to work, well, these people could just show up and not know, the ins and outs of their business. If I don't know the ins and outs of my business, if I don't make it happen, my daughter doesn't get to have good things or, you know what I mean? I don't know.
No. And that's
Plus,
what
people need taken care of, and there's a lot of shitbags out there, so I need to take care of these people.
So, I mean, it's good to see that, that you're doing good and man, it's
not great. Some months are great. Some months aren't.
Right. And obviously, right. But that's with a lot of stuff. But you're taking that chance on yourself.
Yeah.
And really going out there and like you said, kind of owning it, right?
Yeah.
You're taking care of you instead of having to manage a bunch of other people and their emotions and their feelings. You can control these situations. And it sounds like, from what you're saying, you go super and above and beyond. And
I still find time to get to the golf course during the business day.
It feels like that mentality is becoming less and less, or at least that's just what it sounds like.
One thing is dying with the people that made me the way I am.
Yeah,
and
it could be.
And that was my grandpa's. His knuckles were this fat, right?
Right. Yep.
Fat. Why are their hands? If people ever meet people from, if you ever meet, you know a man or a lady by their hands from back in the day, right? You can tell if they did hard.
Oh, my dad's hands are all...
They're huge. They're knotted up. They're beast hands. And I mean, I even got... You can tell, and like
not dainty little hands like Mike's
not
got.
like look, I got
dainty little.
This callus right here's from a freaking golf club. Okay, it's from a freaking golf club. It ain't from like my grandpa helped build the Rensen. You know what I mean? We're 3 gigs like. Those type of people, like your father, like those type of people, they're dying off, because now we can do it.
Well, and that's funny because that's one of the things that my dad complains about because he's looking for help now.
Yeah. Well, he ain't gonna find help.
And as we said, he goes, I can't find any good help. No one wants, and he says hey, no one wants to work, and I don't think
they don't want to work for that.
They don't want to work for that pay doing that hard of work. And as I told him, I go, Dad, I did moving for 10n years.
That's tough shit.
I never want to do that shit again.
Yeah, it's tough stuff.
Like I'm paying for that. My body hurts
knees,
because
back,
of that. Oh yeah. Inversion table in the bar. My knees suck. If I do anything for an extended period of time standing, my knees get swollen and stiff, and it sucks.
You need to do some yoga, brother.
And as I told him, I was like, I wouldn't ever go back to that if I can't. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why do I want to?
But they did.
Because they did.
That's how they were taught. This is the only way. Well, and I don't want to take so many people do the boomer thing, and I think that is so incredibly disrespectful and rude. Listen, you sissy asses. You don't know where they came from and what they dealt with just to get you to the point where I wouldn't be here if they were there like that. You know what I mean?
And just like the future generations wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for the.
And it's gonna reverse, you fools. Rome ain't still ruling, are they? They're not, because it falls. Every empire falls. So one day, this land is gonna look a hell of a lot different. Okay.
That's why I live out in the woods.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right. I'm trying to get away now. If we win the lotto, we already talked about we're buying a lot of land somewhere else.
It needs to be sovereign property. Property.
Sovereign property. Become my own country.
Yes.
Like Family Guy, Pretoria.
Right. Yeah. That was. Yes. But it didn't work for him.
No, it did not.
But what I mean by that is, there it goes again. I lost
it. Just went. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes. If you're done, we can wrap this.
I think from my wife's perspective,
you're done.
Today's grocery day. I got an hour and drive home.
All right.
Yeah, we need to go.
We
don't need to be done. Let's ask a couple more questions. Let's do some wrap up stuff.
Real quick though on the groceries thing.
What you got?
Changed our lives.
Tell me.
Especially talking about time is money.
Yeah.
Is curbside.
My produce is never as good as when I pick it up. It is not.
That's the only thing.
Fruits and veggies.
So if you want your fruits, veggies, and meats, your raw meats, go in and get that yourself.
Yeah.
But save so much time. And it doesn't cost anything extra.
Right.
It's so much more convenient, except for I don't like the fact that they put like a loaf of bread in this big ass paper bag for no reason.
Right.
I don't know what their bagging methods are. It doesn't make sense. But as far as a time saver,
they probably don't let anything go in with a loaf of bread. That's probably what it is. Nothing else is out.
They put a package of sausage into the brown paper bag. That was all that was in there. And Megan's like, why this waste of a bag?
At least it was paper.
Right? Instead of that one.
I go to this stupid grocery store that is not, so it's like a little, I'm not going to say its name, but a little fancy, right? And it pisses me off that they make me feel bad when I get up to the line. They go, would you mind if I use plastic? They don't say it like in the nice way where I can feel comfortable because I know it's going to be more. And I do the bagging. Like I get up there and I'm able-bodied. I do the bagging every freaking time.
See, it's funny that you have that perspective because like at the same time she loves to go through the self-checkout and I'm like, I didn't know I came to work today. These are taken away from, I'm like, yo, this could be someone's job.
This could be.
This could be someone like being paid to do something, but instead they're not. Because we're doing it ourselves. I'm like, I already had to walk to the store and pick all this crap out, and now I'm going to also ring it up and bag it.
If there was a bagger there, I wouldn't bag it.
Look, I did get that perspective, though, from Bill Burr. He has an excellent bit about the self-checkout. And
I'll have to watch it. It's pretty funny.
And it's just like, once he said that, I was like, yeah, I didn't come to work today.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't
my job.
How did this company trick us into doing the shopping, doing the scanning, and doing the bagging, and they just collect
they got the
money.
scanning now. Like, you got to do like the one place is like you pick the scanner up when you go in and just take it around with you.
Oh, yeah. You know what we do love, though, is Sam's Club on the phone, the app. You can scan everything with your phone, check out.
On your phone.
And you just walk out, show them your phone. They scan like the QR code, scan a couple things like normal, and boom.
We haven't graduated to
skip the line totally.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
We haven't graduated to the
bulk stores.
Bulk stores yet.
You'll get there.
Well, we would have done Costco.
Especially with the family.
Yeah, we would have done Costco, and I want to say this, but I like American Express, and I'm not going to put all my damn money through
Yeah.
another stupid card. Okay, so
Yeah.
get your American Express. You give some of my money back.
It's nice because you dodge that line totally.
That is
What we do is
that's key.
I've got a vacuum sealer and all that, so
Yeah.
we'll go buy bulk meat and like break out a month's worth of meat.
Why you're out here? Why don't you just get it?
Well, so
Why don't you get a cow?
I don't have enough.
Have
land
you ever done
for it.
that?
I don't
No,
have
no,
enough.
no.
But you can
Buy
buy a
it.
cow.
Buy a slaughtered
cow.
cow.
No, I've not done that.
I've done it.
Have you?
I've done
I
it.
know people that have,
Yeah.
and it's a cheaper way
Last
to
a
go for
year.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, freeze it.
So my ultimate goal is to get enough game to not have to buy
To
as
be
much
off the
from the market.
land. Good
Like
for you.
I got her. She's picky eater. If venison's cooked a certain way, she's for it. She loves
Venison's
duck.
good.
She likes duck. She had the wild turkey. She didn't eat the damn turkey breast, which was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's probably
but
the
she
best
did
part.
eat the turkey legs that I
Yeah.
slow cooked, and she was like, "Wow, this is really good. Tastes like turkey."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, because of fucking
It's
turkey."
fucking turkey.
Like you should have ate it original. As weird as she did eat, and you probably hear the dogs. She
I
did
love the
eat
dogs.
she did try squirrel and rabbit
Okay.
in a stew.
That's
I
pretty
made
gamey,
I
huh?
made a beef stew, a beef rabbit squirrel stew.
Okay.
So she tried those different game meats there.
Okay.
She did recently retell this story. She totally lied, and I'm calling her out right now.
Nice.
She totally lied. She was like,
You're in
"Oh,
trouble,
he
Meg.
tricked me. He put it in there and I didn't know." And I was like, "Bullshit! You saw me
asked for
butchering
it.
that shit
Yeah.
on the counter. You knew it was going in.
Lovely.
You knew that." Trying to
She's
play it
usually
off.
a scapegoat.
Yeah. So it was funny, but
So where else were we though?
yeah. So that's the ultimate goal is to get enough game meat that I don't have to
Okay.
go
You
shop
go to
so
the
much.
store,
At
right,
Yeah.
right.
But that's the way we do is bulk.
We got back to groceries. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, Sam's Club fucking pork chops,
Delicious.
they're like $8 for 6 of them, and those fuckers are like this fat.
Nice.
They're delicious. Oh yeah, so
Nice.
good, so good. It's worth it just for the meats. If you're
We
gonna
do
spend
it.
that much,
Yeah. So we're trying to be like 90%. This will probably be controversy all over the damn place. 90% fruits and vegetables, and
Okay.
and then
Hey, go for it.
10% animals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was really good at it before COVID. We were probably 99% fruits, vegetables, nuts, things like that, and 1% animal products. And I was buzzing, homie. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, sleep, amazing, firing on all cylinders, mental clarity. I mean, in my hockey, I was floating on the ice. And I'm 35 right now. I skate with
Right.
21, 22-year-olds, people that just played, maybe not NHL, but American League level
Right.
hockey a couple of years ago. And it's not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm great, but I'm telling you, I was out there cruising. But then COVID happened. I was like, go get the food we love.
Yeah.
So now we're back to probably
That's
like,
the hard part is
yeah.
all the food we love that's not good for you just
Yeah.
tastes so fucking delicious.
Dude, I made these eggs the other day. So I made, really, truthfully, we're not gonna go, but it's not just meat. It's animal products.
I'm off milk, except for
I haven't
except
had it
for,
in years.
except for cheese.
Except for
I'm a motherfucking cheese lover.
hey, my daughter's never had milk one time except for cheese. Growing amazingly, bones fantastic, meeting all the spectrums. Pea milk. She's on strictly pea milk. I don't want to go down this because all these damn people, but she was breastfed, but then it's been pea milk the whole time. My daughter's never had they were made to make 450-pound calves.
You know what's funny that you just said, because that's my thing too, right? So I can't remember what documentary it was. It might have been Cowspiracy.
Yeah, we were talking
Right.
about the same shit.
So,
as a great
but if you think about it, right, realistically,
Yeah.
milk is, and it makes total sense. Milk is designed to take a small animal and make it as big as
Huge.
possible, as quick as possible, and isn't really something we should be drinking.
Nope.
I just love cheese.
That's fair.
I'm on oat milk.
But that's
and I like the oat milk when I do drink
Yeah.
something because it does taste like oatmeal kind of.
the adults will use the almond.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
I have almond right now because
Yeah.
the oat milk
Is out?
the oat milk keeps being out.
Yeah.
So I've been drinking
It's
almond
good
milk
though.
now.
It's fantastic.
But like I never have like I'm not smelling it like is that off or on?
Right.
Like is that smell a little off?
Right.
Or is that still good?
You know what? I've never had to do that. You're
You know,
right.
Like,
Yeah.
that part, like I don't have to worry about that
Yeah.
unless I'm cooking with it. Like there are
Sure.
some recipes where oat milk, because when it's heated up, it changes
Sure.
and it's like slimier.
Okay.
It's not good for like cooking with. So there,
Okay.
when a recipe calls
Get
for
some
milk,
heavy
I'm gonna
cream or
put
some
milk.
bullshit. Yeah,
or
yeah.
we do heavy cream
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Right.
But
you're not having it every day, so
Yeah.
often, not a huge part of your diet.
yeah.
It's just,
Things are different. That's to be honest with you. If we're talking, we'll cut soon. But to go back, that's what got us: forks over knives, cowspiracy. And here's what I'll tell you. Then, when we're talking about products, is when I watched one of those. I think it was the other one that it was. Is they took those 3 NFL players, all big, huge offensive line dudes. Gave one dude bean burrito. Gave one dude all white meat burrito. Gave one dude a dark meat burrito. Then, as soon as 15 minutes after they ate it, they take your blood, right? And then they put it in the vials and they spin your blood around, right? And then when they spin your blood around, you always see
everything's like separates. Yeah.
Everything separates, right?
Yeah.
So then you look at it and you want to look at the clear part, how clear it is, right? Dude that ate white meat. White meat's good for you, right? White meat's fine. It was just as dirty as the dark meat. Within 15 minutes, it's floating in your blood.
That was, I can't remember what show it was, because Netflix also did another one called, oh God, is it Spoiled or something like that? What the fuck was it called? I just had it, but it's all about Rotten, and it's all about the food industry and these different things, you know. Yep. And so it was either in that, or it might have been Cowspiracy, or a different one that I watched. Yeah. But they talked about that, right? That like there's this great misconception that like pork and chicken are better for you than dark meat when they're not. No. They've always been sold as a healthier thing, and it's just genius marketing. But they're not.
I love genius marketing.
They still have proteins that cause inflammation and like all these different things.
And then nobody knows they're just walking around swollen all freaking day, man.
Yeah.
How's your brain supposed to? How are you not supposed to have Alzheimer's or dementia after 50 years of eating this stuff? If you want to look into the shit, we're not going into this.
But see, I love meat, so
I know it's so hard.
So for me though, where the hunting part comes in is I feel better about the meat that I go and get myself versus animals that are just grown to be slaughtered. At least like when I go out into the woods, there's a chance I won't see anything. Yeah. There's no deer dying that day. It gets to live another day. Yeah. Those cows and the pigs and the chickens in those conditions, like watching that Rotten show, like for dairy, when a farmer has to tout, he's like, check out this new thing we installed. It's fans underneath the milking area that blow constantly to keep the flies away from the udders. And it's like, because of the flies getting the udders, they cause infection that gets into your milk. And it's like, it's weird.
It's bad.
And it's horrible for a lot of things. And we can stand on a soapbox and talk about it all, but that's my mentality on the hunting part, right?
I appreciate it.
I'd rather get my meat
from nature,
less antibiotics, hormones, all the stuff that they do, right? And that animal just gets a chance to actually live, versus being raised to be slaughtered in those
like
conditions.
The cows, and then we'll get off this box, but like when you're the milking cow, right? That's your life. They don't move. They don't walk. They don't graze.
They're in pens. They get troughs of food. Like, because it's an industry. And to
treat them like that,
and it's always wild as a hunter to have people be upset at hunting. Yeah. But then consume meat and not be upset about those industries.
They really need to be really
like
upset
which one? Like I'm out here. Yeah, I killed an animal. You're just paying
quick and it didn't.
You're paying
suffer.
someone to kill an animal.
Right.
I gutted the animal myself.
If I
dragged it out of the woods
humanely, but they don't do it humanely. They're punched. I mean,
there's no
those
real humanely.
Sure. I mean, I guess I'd say
there's some that are better than others.
The hunter. I mean, the one shot.
There's a lot of bad shots.
Is there
in hunting? Yes,
I'm not a hunter.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad shots.
I have never.
People are shooting their kids. Yes, there's lots of bad shots.
I've never stopped a heartbeat.
And I've apologized to everything that I've shot.
You know what?
When I got my turkey,
you talked to it. Yeah.
I got my turkey. He was just trying to get laid. And I said I was sorry.
That's fucked up.
My bear, I said I was sorry. My deers, I've apologized.
There's got to be some type of feeling there if you're a good person.
There is, because it's like,
there's an energy. There's an energy around all this shit. You know what I mean?
It was just a living thing. It was. It's a weird experience from that perspective too. Just
gotta be.
Because you just ended that.
You did
life.
it.
Yeah.
You are responsible for that.
It is weird.
Yeah. Maybe people should take more responsibility in general.
Yeah.
You should have to have a license to have children. Let's end now.
I'm not against that.
No, me either.
Like, what's weird is how, because this is a personal experience.
Yeah.
How can someone have their child taken away because they're unfit to be a parent, but then they can have two more?
Oh, really? Why? Yeah, that's lovely.
You're not good enough to have the first one,
but you can
just make some replacements and have those.
Yeah, and then
yeah. So, but then that gets into all kinds of stepping on your rights.
But if you need a real estate agent,
yeah.
But
seriously, I love to help people. I am very transparent. I don't wait around. If you need something from me, I contact you with the information that you probably think you'd be expecting, and I just want to help. That's really what it is. You can tell if you listen to this.
You may not be a scientist, you may not be a doctor.
That's it. But I still
help. You're a damn good real estate agent, and you're gonna work for your clients.
That's 100% true.
Right? That needs to be on a billboard. I may not be a doctor, I may not be a scientist, but I'm a damn good real estate agent that works for you.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I think I might put that on a billboard. I need a little bit more of a budget for my marketing, but I always see. I've worked with this, Jerry, my guy. I've always got to push. Come on, spend the budgeting market. He's always like, no. That's a good way to end.
Yeah, just play it out. Yeah. No.
I like it. I appreciate you having me, and thanks for everybody listening.
I appreciate you coming on, catching up,
it was a good time.
talking about that stuff, because again, it doesn't feel like a lot of people understand that industry as much.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And it's such a huge, impactful thing on people's lives.
Every day they need it.
Housing, right?
And if you don't have to pay rent.
Yeah.
Money in your pocket.
Stack that money, right? Stack that money.
We'll do it next time. I want to get on season 5.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to The Get Up. I'm JP. Talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to The Get Up. Make sure to check out thegetupshow.com for more information on this episode's guest. While you're there, check out other episodes, leave a comment, or if you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, shoot an email to contact@thegetupshow.com. Don't forget to follow, like, and share on Facebook at The Get Up Show Podcast. Follow on Instagram and Twitter at The Get Up Show, and subscribe to The Get Up YouTube channel. The Get Up is available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts.